What's going on, folks? What's going on? Yes, it is a bit of a change from the norm, but figured we'd jump in there so we couldn't do this yesterday evening, at least my time evening. So I want to say good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all you fine folks out there from around the world. Good to have viewers in there so far, and that's fine with me. Just checking my audio so you'll hear me again. There we go. All right, so audio is good. But yeah, I mean, let's see. Let's get this. Lone, what's going on? Stefan's in there. Langeveld says, hey, hey. Mick's in there. What's going on, Mick? Says, good morning. Pete's in there. What's going on, Pete Ferrero? Hope it's doing good up there in New York. I believe that's where you're at, if our memory serves me correctly. Mimi's in there. Hello, Mimi. Good to see you in there as well. John McDonald says, New Zealand. Hey there, 4 a.m. really. Let me do this. There we are. He says, missing out on my beauty sleep. Yeah, I hate to do that to you, man. I really, but thanks for joining me anyway. That's awesome. Mark Resta, what's going on? You said, hi everyone. Springs Box vs. All Blacks live, go. Oh, okay. Watching the game, what's happening? Mark Wells. Wow, catch you right on time for a change. Hello from Durham, UK. What's going on, Mark? Good to see you in there. Let's see. Mars Leaks, what's happening? What's happening? Happy? I guess you can be happy and happy at the same time. Custom Taylor 1, what's happening? Good to see you in there, man. Hot Chili Fashion, morning, Vietnam here. Well, it's good to see you in there, man. And we all, like I said, we said hi to Mimi. Nice new background pic. Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. And probably sad at the same time, if you will. Thought that was pretty cool. Let me see. Tommy Bird says, good to see you, Chris. Same to you, Tommy. Good to have you in there. Woof. Talk about busy, busy, busy. Unbelievable. Let me break open some of this water. Not as cold as I like it, but it works. Got something also cold to drink over here, too. No, it's not alcohol. We don't want to pass out on you folks. Just a little Mickey D sweet tea. Folks, have you had the Mickey D sweet tea? Would you say hands down it's probably the best? Unless, of course, it's homemade, then that's different. But, yeah, nothing says, how about a sugar coma, like the McDonald's sweet tea, right? It's good stuff. It's addicting. But, yeah, I had that this morning, and I said, well, I didn't have to work today, which is really weird. The job is, yeah, I don't know whether I'm coming and going sometimes. Just really crazy. Yep. Pete, you said 75 degrees. We're at 82. Light breeze, like 3 to 5 miles an hour. Humidity's only 47%. So we had a cold front come through, which is awesome. Felt much better. Not as sticky. It's just pleasant to be outside, right? So yeah, it's always good. Stefan, you said you're early this time. Well, usually we're on Fridays, so I guess depending on how you look at it. But I figured I'd make it a little bit better because I know some of the fine folks, some of them are in New Zealand, so they're actually, like we were talking about earlier, one's like 4 a.m. in the morning, so you're like another day forward from ourselves, at least in Eastern Daylight Time. Or Eastern Daylight Time? Yeah. So yeah, I mean, try to make it cool for everybody if we can. Let me see. Private Tomcat says, hi all. What's going on, Private Tomcat? Let's see. D. Tobin, what's going on? He said, good morning, Chris, and everyone. I hope you're doing well. We'll call you D. Tommy, I don't know. He said, who designed the background? I've seen this floating around before, and this is on Facebook. Somebody had it as like an avatar. I guess they took it and just put it as like an avatar on their Facebook. So I said, you know what, that's a cool picture and kind of scary and weird at the same time, but I like it. It's awesome. What I do is I kind of darken it up a little bit, and then the dark areas I brought up. So basically threw it into Photoshop, see if we can't get it a little bit better. We can see stuff. It looks like on the lower left hand right here, looks like an airplane, at least dug into the ground, or bits and pieces of it. But cool, but I don't know, kind of scary at the same time. Alust is in there. What's going on? He said, hey, everyone. What's going on? What is happening? So I don't know who actually did it. I think there was a name on it at one time, but this thing's been kind of circulating, so I don't know who did it now. But yeah. Custom Tailored One, you said I prefer it earlier. Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to figure out, believe it or not, guys, I'll get into my work schedule. It's absolutely bizarre. It's, you know, between having a fire at my place of employment, and then thankfully this other person had, or the owner has more than one store, so I can bounce without going super far away. So I can bounce here and there, and then we're literally going back to the old place, the old store, and cleaning everything out, and you better have a strong stomach. Let's just put it that way. And I really don't. It's like borderline. I'm going to yak, but I don't. Because when you're dealing with food, dairy, frozen, all kinds of stuff, we had to throw it all out. Had like a small crew of us go in there and clean out. There's no power in the place, so thankfully it wasn't super hot in there, and we made do. I've got a portable battery you can carry, so I brought a fluorescent light. It's basically, well, I shouldn't say fluorescent. It's actually just a small, like 3-foot light. It's a LED, and pretty much lit up a whole aisle type thing, so we can get a lot of work done. And oh my God, it's an absolute nightmare. Let's put it that way. So we're basically in limbo. We're working at another store right now, but then next week we're supposed to go back to the old one, and we're going to count everything that's in that store for insurance policies and reasons. So that's always a lot of fun. Can't wait to do that. But when you work at another place, and anybody who's done this knows exactly what I'm talking about, when you're at another place, you feel like you're just like a fish out of water because, one, you don't know anybody. Two, it's just a weird environment compared to your own place. And then, like I said, three, it's like, yeah, it's just, I don't know. It's good to be working with just about everybody from our store has gone over to that one. So at least I work with everybody that I normally work with, which makes it a lot easier, right? But it's just weird altogether, and you know, you got just kind of slightly different hours. You know, I'm kind of liking it though, because before I'd have to open the store, like I'd go in there early, 6 o'clock in the morning. I'm already there, open it up, not to the public, of course. Just go in there and do my own thing, fire everything up, and unlock doors and stuff like that, and then everybody starts rolling in around 7:15 to 8 o'clock. Then the store actually officially opens at 8. So it's a lot of fun. Yeah, I mean, doing cleanup was insane. I mean, it's just awesome when you're carrying like ice cream that's leaking down your arm, or sour cream, or all that kind of good fun stuff. And like I said, what was really bizarre is that, you know, we took everything out in these shopping carts, brought them out, and I can't even count how many times we went in and out of this building with it. But we had it so full that when the garbage truck came along, he put a cable on it, and of course he picks it up this way here, and the whole darn thing just squatted to the ground. And you know, you're talking about tandem wheels on a garbage truck. It's pretty funny. But so they pick it up, and of course empty it in there, and of course he compacts it. Every known fluid that was in these whether it be dairy, frozen, whatever it was, just shot of every orifice of this garbage truck, which left a really nice stank. And everybody's going, you know, I mean, yeah, it wasn't fun, but we're trying to accelerate the process of reopening because you know, it's been a staple in the community over there for like 60 years. So everybody feels like, you know, the people in the local area just feel that they're a fish out of water, and you can't blame them. Heck, I haven't even been living. Well, might as well live there now. It's been there so long. But even me not being there that long, it's still, you're like, wow, you just still feel weird not being in there. So I think once they get a couple, you know, answers from insurance companies, whatever they got to do, it's going to be to the point where either A, they're going to open that one up, or B, they're going to bounce to another store. I think he'll lease it, which is a lot bigger store and everything else, and then we'll just rock and roll on that one. But yeah, it's always a lot of fun. Really, really good stuff. So yeah. Let me see. Kenneth, what's going on? He said, background image looks a lot like the one from the Planet of the Apes, doesn't it? It's kind of weird that it does, but. And Spence says Miami is going to be in the 90s up to 93 this week. Wow. We're actually cooling off. I think it's halfway into next week. And so it's supposed to be cool. It's like 55, 58 in the morning. I think that's nice. I like it 50. Of course, we're talking Fahrenheit, of course, folks. I know a few folks over in UK and abroad, it's always Celsius. But if you know your scale, you know what I'm talking about. But so it's not too bad. I kind of like it, like 60 degrees in the morning, maybe 75 to 80, low humidity. Psh, I'll take it all year long. All year long. So, Long Island, New York, 1395 says, yo, what's up? What's going on, man? Mr. Josh D's in the house says, hi, Chris. Good to see you. Hope you are well. I am well, Josh, and I hope you're doing the same thing. Hope you're well. Monkey UK says, hi, all. What's going on? Got the hand going on? We have a big old hand over the big pond. I didn't see it. Your question, Long Island, New York, you said, anyone see that sphere fall out of the sky? I heard about something like that. Was it a sphere or something? Somebody, I think I seen one that said something about it was a UFO or whatever, UAP, call it what you will. But you know how the stories like start going rampant, you know. But other than that, I haven't heard a whole lot about it. Maybe, he said, Chris, can you buy milk in the U.S. that doesn't have to be refrigerated? There is one or two of them, and I can't place the name, but we don't have it in the store. But I know what you mean. That would be perfect, right? Now, some people, I don't know how they do it and why, but they'll buy that like instant milk, that powder milk. I can't. I just can't do it. But I know what you're saying, that it's actually in a cotton type thing you can get. I haven't seen it in mine, so yeah. Okay, because you said in Germany it's normal. Okay. Jaws, no, I didn't. You said anyone see the full Tucker Carlson, Gary Nolan interview, 2nd August original, I think. I mean, I haven't seen it myself. Probably have to check that out. He said disclosure team's reveal of the Scottish original UAP photo was amazing too. Mars the Second Genesis, what's happening? Good to see you in there, man. He said, hi guys. What is going on, man? Good to see you in there. I didn't know if, I believe it was you. You were starting to do live feeds as well, which is awesome. So you guys can always bounce over there. And correct me if I'm wrong, because I forget your personal name, so forgive me for that. But I went over there. I was just happening to look at the channel. And I said, oh, wow, he's doing live feeds too. So that's cool that you do that. Miss Heard, what's going on? Good to see you in there. Said hi, Chris, and all. Hope you're doing well, Miss Heard. I keep wanting to say Heard. I don't know why. Maybe because I was just a habit of it before, you know. Sean, what's going on? Good to see you in there, man. You said hi, all. What is going on? Alan Garcia's in there. What's going on, Alan? He said, good morning, Chris and gang. Oops, man, this thing just jumped on me. I love it when it does that. Dave B's in there. What's going on, Dave? Good to have you in there. Mark Lewis. Hi, Chris. I was surprised you are live early and I'm in the Wales, UK. Yeah, I mean, I decided to do it today because here's the thing. My schedule's all completely messed up now. You know, I don't ever have Saturdays off. I can't remember the last time I had a Saturday off. I'm going, okay, if I got to work late Friday, don't get out of there until 4. It takes you about 25 minutes to get home. Depends, give or take. Could be a little earlier, a little later, depending on traffic. And it's going to be a lot of fun when school starts because it'll be like madness everywhere. So it might be a little later. I'm going, okay, so I'd like to still be able to talk to everyone, so what do I do? Hey, why don't we just do this? So I did it on Saturday, but that will change too. It's just weird. It depends on what he's got doing for the old store, and yeah, it's just crazy. Figuratively speaking says, good morning. Here with my baby watching. Love the background photo. Yeah, it is cool, isn't it? Like I said, it's cool and kind of really weird at the same time, and maybe sad, if you will, because we just hope that's not the case of all things to come, so to speak, signs of it, right? B. Ferreira says, Las Vegas flooded again, but water shortage might close all of the fountains. Yeah, might close all of the fountains. Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to remember who else just told me. A buddy of mine said we get a water shortage here as well. and we have to watch what we do. And it's like, really? I mean, I don't know if we were short here around here, but I'll tell you what, we've had so much rain lately, it's pitiful. It's like, I was thinking about just getting a rowboat to go to work instead, or a kayak. It'd be probably be easy. And heck, the river's not far from me. I should just go down the river. Just crazy. Oh, okay, Miss Heard, you're doing well. Good. Mars Leaks, your question was, hey Chris, you've seen Art Alien TV about the vegetable blobs on Mars. Millions of identical blobs and identical features on the rim of the North Pole of Mars aligned in rows. I have seen those. I've seen them myself. They call them dunes. Now, I don't know. It's just like, is it possible, because I've seen these things, is it possible they're dunes, or are they possible it's more like structures and just the way they build? Now, most people would say, well, it's not a structure. Clearly, you can see it's not. And it may very well 100% be natural. I'm not arguing that point. I mean, but we all expect things to be built like we have here on Earth. Why would we do that? We just assume that. Well, it's going to be a square, rectangular structure, and that's going to be it. We don't know that. They could be using like I said, these dunes, and they could be using these buttes and everything else building into it, and it's keeping them cooler. It's like yourself. If you could live underground, if you're at least 6 to 8 or 10 feet underground, you're going to keep a constant 55 to 60 degrees at all times. I don't care if it's dead of winter or in the middle of summer, or the highest point in summer, whatever you want to look at it. The extreme temperatures wouldn't bother you because you'd be at a constant temperature underground. So, you know what I mean? It's hard to tell what some of them things are, because when you see a ton of them, you go, it's kind of like the photo I had before of the buttes that they show, quote unquote buttes. And the funny thing about it is they're all like, and I just looked at another picture. In fact, I have one more moon coming up, and I have another Mars, and we're going to look at that one because it's a pan, and you can literally see the butte. There's a butte, there's another butte. They're all lined up, and then some of them are like, it's almost like there's roadways, and these things were structures at one point and just crumbled. It's what it looks like. Because they're just completely like lined up, and it's like, okay, I get the idea of buttes, but they're usually scattered about, right? You don't usually have them like in a line, like in a row going down. You just don't really see that. And there's a couple features on these buttes that clearly are not natural. I just looked at one. I went 90-degree angle. This one over here looks like mechanical parts. You can literally see what looks like little pipes and frames and stuff. Come on, It just makes you wonder, is this stuff actually, like I said before, encrusted? Is it possible that a lot of this is buried over a course of time? And I say yes. I just don't think it's been that much of time, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, I did see that, Mars Leaks, yeah. Too fast, TJM, what's happening? Good to see you there, man. It's been a while since you've been here. I don't know if you work a lot during the week, and I see you jumping there periodically, so glad to see you in there as always. And Dave Michael, that's a good question. He said, if someone making a sci-fi movie approached you to be in play yourself, would you consider it? Sure, why not? I don't have a problem with that. What I'd love to do, and I know you guys would agree on this because you would even do it yourself. Let's suppose you just happen to be talking to some folks and they happen to be a movie producer. Maybe not, mainstream, meaning to all these great, producers, but can you imagine if they said, you know what, I actually had an idea, and let's say they didn't know anything about you, and they said, we have an idea to make a movie about Mars, because everybody wants to go to Mars. It's like, I wish we had some ideas. How much time you got? We can hook you up. And then tell them what's really going on and how they can really check this out. Because, what was the one that had, not Mission to Mars, the latest one they had was where you're stranded on the planet and he had to, build his own food and everything else. And was it Matt? Matt Damon that was in that? Who was in that? But I was so disappointed in that movie. I was just like, wow, he's going to be wandering around. Maybe he'll fall in a hole, and it turns out to be an underground structure that was buried or something. Nothing at all. It was totally disappointing. But I'd be like, there's much more going on there. And then it's like they do a movie about how they get there, and it's like there's nothing there but just rocks and garbage, and meaning just natural layout of the land. And then they just happen to go over this this cliff, and they look down, they can see all these structures laying there, and just cool stuff. And it looks like it's been built into buttes or so on. That would, oh my God. Yeah, we can literally go to town and make a serious movie. You react. You said a vent system would be the sign. Okay, yeah. JP, what's going on? So hi, Chris. And of course, you're from Florida. Good to see you there. I guess it's JP LaForte. Good to see you there, man. Tim Stice says, I was zooming in excuse me, on pictures of Mars for hours one day and found many structures that look created, like little hot pipes, perfect cuts in rocks, etc. Yeah, I mean, you'll see this stuff if you really look at these photos and really get into it, and not just take a quick gander over whether it's a pan. I prefer pans, and I know a lot of you folks do too, because when you look at these things, it's just bizarre. Because you can see how close they are, and here's the other thing too. I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but a lot of these buttes, they're like the same size, same height, almost the same width, length, and everything. You go, okay, I get the idea of buttes. I don't have any problem with that. But what's the chances of something being almost the same size? Now, of course, they'll vary in size, but they don't look like they're a whole lot different in size. Some of them, and you just go, what's the chance of them being lined up? Like I said, I use the I was saying before, I said, it's almost like they have, like they're lined up like a used car lot. Of course, there's more space between them, but you know what I'm saying. It's like boom, 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 all the way down. You go, and it almost looks like there's a flat area, like there's a roadway or something there. You're going, are these actually natural, or aren't they, or are they at all? I don't know. The Martian, thanks guys. Yeah, exactly. And I was disappointed. Who's seen that movie? Were you not disappointed, or were you just like, boom, I thought it was a great movie? I was so disappointed. It really, truthfully, it kind of bummed me out. It pissed me off. Because I was like, I'm thinking, yeah, I was going to see some serious shitness. And it was like, it was cool. The movie was cool for entertainment purposes. But, yeah, I don't know. DeSando26, you said the same thing, The Martian. I appreciate it. Robert Kermick Hole says, wow, I love the backdrop. Yeah, it is pretty sweet. I looked at that and I was like, I think that'll make the screen this time, and just throw that up there. Pretty sweet. I think it's what it's called, Long Island, Ghost of Mars. I think that's what it is. He said, what's the movie Ice Cube where they're fighting Ghost on Mars? I think what it is, Ghost of Mars. I think that's exactly it. Elaine Millard, what's going on? Hello, Chris and everyone. Hope everyone is okay. I'm doing well. Elaine, I hope you're doing well. Oh, yeah, Miss Heard, by all means, do what you got to do. Just try not to talk about too much food, because I'm going to get hungry, and you're going to have to invite me, and I'm going to have to go over there and get something to eat. I have to sign off a bit to make lunch for my granddaughter and I. Tim Starry said, Mars reminds me of what Earth would look like in 100 years after a nuclear disaster. Pretty much. Well, that's what they had there. 2 large explosions on Mars, and one was larger than the other. And like I said, I don't know how long you've been listening or any of that, Tim. I know you've been around. But when we were talking about these, many times we've talked about this, where it's no coincidence that a lot of these, well, first was NASA, JPL, but it's no coincidence that a lot of these other countries are doing the same, where you have the, well, you got the face of Cydonia, you got the Cydonia region, of course, you got this chaos regions southeast of it, well, here, southeast, and every lander and rover is like around just south and east and west of that whole area. It's no coincidence. There's 2 large explosions there, and funny enough, they just happen to be in that area. Now, don't get me wrong, it's not like they're like 30 feet apart. I mean, they're stretched out, but, the whole point is they're like around it. And even the newest ones, they're pretty darn close. InSight's not far from there. I mean, all of these new missions are all in that area. Why do you suppose that is? Because they've probably seen something there, and I know they have, just by looking at these photos, they're there for a reason. They're there looking at what was left of a civilization that was on Mars. It's as simple as that. It's the only thing you could gather, you know? Pete, you said the picture of the shuttle really shows how technology can be overtaken by nature. Lesson to be learned on Mars exploitation. Yeah, exactly. Because, you know, if it's been there, it's been. But here we go. It's kind of like encrusted, right? Is it possible some of the stuff we're seeing there is actually doing the same thing? A lot of these things are encrusted, and it's been there for X amount of time. Leo, you said your question was greetings. You said greetings, man. Do you know what Jimmy Robinson, or Robbins, it's supposed to be Robbins, I guess, hasn't uploaded videos lately? That dude and you are just the best at this. Well, I think he's like me. I got a typical job. I do the same thing. So, you know, you just get, obviously doing the everyday thing, and sometimes you just can't get to doing videos. And it kind of sucks because it's like a favorite pastime of mine. It's a hobby of mine to be able to do this. So when I find that I can't get these things done, it's frustrating for me, and I know it's frustrating for you folks, because you're like, oh, I'd like to see a video. So, like I said, I've got 2 of them. I got another moon as well as the Mars one, so those will be coming out soon as well. So, of course, I'm dancing around the schedule. They got me all over the place, working here, but then they'll be bouncing me over to my other place, my normal place of employment, to get this accelerated, like I said, clean up and get this all straightened out so we can figure out what the hell we're going to be. So it's 1 minute I'm saying, yeah, this will be great. Okay, I'm working at this place for the week, and then, oh, by the way, next week you won't be. Oh, my God. So you just don't know what you're doing. And if you're there till like 4 o'clock, and I'm talking about physical labor here, guys, picking up stuff, moving stuff all day long. You come home, you go, I feel beat up. I just don't want to do anything. You know what I mean? So you're kind of like just kicking back. You're just like, I can't, you know? As much as you would love to, you know, it's hard to, right? Bush Corey, what's going on? Yes, hi all. What's going on, Corey? I was going to say, what's going on, Bush? Okay. Yeah. Rashomir Jones, hey Chris, caught you live. How you doing? Hello everybody in the chat. I'm doing well, man. I'm just, like I said, just explaining my, basically my fun time with employment, if you want to call it that. But I'm just happy to be still working. I'm not complaining. But it's rough. It's rough right now, and it's hard to get anything nailed down as far as a schedule and trying to get some of these videos out because they're starting to build up. I'm like, oh, I love to make these. It's a little hard to do. Mars Lakes, you're right. You said the Martian was a NASA production, which, yeah, that's why I was completely disappointed, right? Yeah. And Spence said, I didn't watch The Martian because I didn't think it would be good. Well, as entertainment, as just a movie, in other words, if you never looked at any of the videos that, like, I think it was hold on. Yeah. Like Leo was just saying about Jimmy Roberts, myself, anybody else you watch, if you never watched any of these videos and you're just a normal person, just coming home from work, you didn't care about anything to do with space or anything. It was a cool movie, just a simple, you know, it was okay movie. I mean, I thought it was good, but it was so, I was just waiting for it. Yes, he's finally going to do it. Remember, he's outside, he's in that basically Martian buggy, and I'm going, yes, we're going to see some stuff here. And disappointed. I was like, oh my God, right to the end. I was just like, oh man, please. But that was just me. I'm not saying I speak for everybody else. Yeah, Long Island, you said Ghost of Mars was pretty entertaining, honestly. It was actually a pretty good movie. Bullet Stop 100, you said, do not forget the xenon at 129. Exactly. So that's what they found, this chemical makeup of what was left from a fallout from basically nuclear explosion or fission, fusion, call it what you will. And And that's what they're doing. They're basing this on, and they're saying, okay, something happened on that planet that was not natural. What caused it? That's the whole key. So when we see the things we see, what looks like things just coming down hills and stuff just kind of thrown around and thrashed around on the surface, it makes sense. It makes perfect sense. It's, you know, so it's kind of like a puzzle piece we're putting together to make the full puzzle, right? Susan Ann, what's going on? Good to see you in there. He said, hey all, miss you all heaps. Yeah, I mean, you know, good to see you in there, man. It's been a while since I've seen you. Glad that you're here. Coolman 6564, he said, I know that feeling. If you're referring to the job type thing, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Leo, you said, thanks for answering, bud. You and Jimmy should get together again. Just love that time. You should. I mean, yeah, I mean, if he had more time to get together, and sometimes it's like a hit and miss a lot of times. It's like having Jean on. Sometimes I'll try to get a little early to try to ask him, and of course he's busy. I mean, I don't blame him. Whether it's hanging out with family, you know, family first, of course. Job first, family first, everything like that. Everything else is secondary. You know, you gotta make money. You gotta literally, you know, support the family. You gotta do all that. No problems whatsoever. Everybody's got to do it. Money makes the world go round, unfortunately, but it is what it is. So I don't have a problem with that. Maurice Booma. Booma? Yeah. A full moon vibes. Yes, yes. This morning I went up, that moon was like, it wasn't big, but it was like nice and full. I was like, damn. Robert Coley said, I went back over a pan and always find something new and adds more questions about how long ago and who actually built it. Was it us in the past? It's a great question. Like I said, if we were to go by like ancient civilizations or any, like I said, they say we're in the 5th cycle. So, okay, if we're in the 5th cycle, that means catastrophic events at one point and almost killed off man, and we restarted again, population built again. And then every time we do that, we, you know, and it's not within like weeks we rebuild, right? This goes, you know, thousands and thousands of years, we get back up. Technology. Kind of like this. Like if you happen to find this later on and you were, like this is like a Viking or some kind of medieval guy sitting on a horse. So if you're there, it's basically starting over, and it's like yourself. If you were, let's say this happened here on this planet, somehow you lived through a catastrophic event, okay, and there's only a handful of you left, you got to say to yourself, okay, how do we rebuild again? Because if you're not an engineer and everything all in one, engineer, electrician, all that, to fire everything back up, it's almost impossible. You literally have to slowly little stages again to go right back up to where we were. Not only the population, but these people, and how do you teach them? And it's like you're basically knocked back into the dark ages. So if we would assume that this what happened, or happens all the time, let's go back to the first cycle of man. How many years ago was that? No idea. Could have been thousands upon thousands of years. Could have been 250,000 years ago. We don't know. And it's hard to tell whether it's something that maybe, like I said before, and I was purely speculating, I'm saying, is it possible that we had space travel back then? I'm going back and forth to Mars. Everything was fine. And we have these explosions that literally eliminate life on that planet. Is it possible we came here? You know, or some balance of that civilization came here. And then, of course, again, we had these other 4 cycles. People killed off. The population grows again. It's just weird to think about it, because wouldn't that be neat if we could go back in time and find that out? Like if there was life here on Earth as well as Mars at the same time, and you could travel back and forth. They had some kind of pending doom. They had a war with somebody. And there you go. Life still existed on Earth. We were good. You know, I don't know. Yeah, too fast. TJM, he said, yeah, you can still pick up the nuclear isotopes in the atmosphere. The remnants of nuclear war still lingers on. Yeah, it's kind of like if you go to Chernobyl, right? Even though it was, what, 80 years ago? There's still a trace of it. You know, maybe a hair bit more now, but it's still a trace of it, but it's now safe enough for you to walk through. Now, I don't know if I'd want to make an apartment on one of those buildings that are there. But, you know, the surrounding city, of course. So I don't know if I'd want to live there because, you know, at some point, even though it's low levels, at some point it'll get you, right? But even within, you know, 90 years, 100 years, you go, okay, so let's suppose it happened in the 40s. Oh, 40s, where are we at now? Okay, 60, okay, it's been 80 years ago. It's been over 80 years ago. So, you know, and then you go, okay, so now they're all going there. You know, of course, we were there in, you know, 76, 75, 76 the first time as far as a lander. And then, of course, you know, of course it's a lander because if there was radiation still fallout, nobody wants to die there. So I can understand that, if that's the case. I don't know. That's just, and it does make you wonder, you know. Like I said, then they, you know, now I think they believe it's safe to be able to go there and not have to worry about any nuclear fallout to the point where it'll actually kill us humans. So again, 90, and then you had 97 Sojourner and its lander, Spirit and Opportunity in 2014. No, 2004. Then 2012, you had the what do you call it? They had one rover. Then, of course, you had Perseverance 2020. So, yeah, I mean, it's, you know, you had Curiosity in 2012. So now it's like every time we're like building something bigger, more sophisticated, so on and so forth, they know what's up there. I just find it hard to believe you had to send that many things up in there, up on Mars, to find out, let's see if we can find some building blocks of life. Come on. You know they did back with the lander, the Viking lander, knew this. And of course, they're still arguing between scientists about, oh, no, there was life. It showed signs of life. And no, it did not. And they knew it. They knew it all along. Susan, I don't know why it held this for review, but anyway, so haven't been over for a while here on the live stream. Great to be here. Please sub to me. I've been here for years now. Aussie, honest old lady with the 121 subs. Oh, okay. Let me just make that. Go ahead and make that. Okay. Now it's, like I said, I don't know why it was held for review, but whatever. Susan A. So we can all go to her channel. We can just sub to hers. Truthfully, I haven't been to your channel, so I don't know what you have there or not. Basically what your topic is. I don't know if it's something similar to us or something that we do. But again, you said haven't been over a while here on the live stream. Great to be here. Please sub to me. I've been here for years now. Aussie, honest old lady with 121. That's cool. So yeah, everybody jump over to Susan A. You can actually look her up if you wanted to. You go up on the top, and of course you can look for channel. Let's say it breaks it down into a little box that says channel, and just hit that, and of course it'll show her. Yeah, cool. Frank Centurion, what's going on? Good to see you in there, Frack. Said good morning. HTOS1AV, cool. I made it to the cast. Good to see everyone. Everyone been working. I feel you, man. It's been crazy here. Absolutely insane. MRLN PFR. I'm not sure what that stands for, but greetings from Germany. Cool. Good to have you in there, man. Maurice says, good day, space people. Rashomir Jones says, I've heard that the Martians had neutron and gravity bombs. I'm not sure about all that, but either way, somebody annihilated them. And I've even said this before, I even went a step further than that. I said, what if none of that stuff I speculated about even ever happened, meaning like coexisting planets and we can go back and forth? What if we knew that the Martians, they didn't have a way to really protect themselves? And let's say they're not the same size as us. But we wanted to take over the planet. Ooh, a couple nice bombs would solve that problem, wouldn't it? I mean, it's not like we do that here on Earth. I mean, we would never go into another country and blow them up and take their resources or any of that sort, right? Yeah, buddy. And I'd hate to believe that would be true. You know what I mean? But I don't know. It's really odd, but you just don't know. Bullet Stop 100, you said this kind of makes you ask a lot of questions about the moon as well. True. And like I said, there's so much stuff in these moon photos, it's insane. Robert Coley said, yes, I totally agree, because you don't have that knowledge. Exactly. And you wish you had that inside information, or at least had some kind of way to prove that, right? Okay, Susan, you said energy. We use energy, crystal energy. Pretty much. Pretty much. We're all energy anyway, right? This thing just jumped on me here, but okay. We need to get to the bottom of it. Hey, Stars1AV, thank you very much for your support, brother. I do appreciate you, man. That's awesome. Was saving for the Sony, then 50% inflation happened. My penny jar was wiped out. I know what you mean. I know exactly what you mean. I was actually thinking about getting the, now that you mentioned that reel-to-reel, I was thinking about getting the belt set for it, which is basically all it needs, which is like $27, but I just haven't found the time. And you know, literally, that thing is, I think it's the TS850, Sony TS850. I saw one on there, like I said, it was like $1,200. I'm like, oh my God, on like eBay. I don't want anything like that. And I think theirs was, I don't know if it was boxed or if it was brand new in the box. I doubt it. I highly doubt it. But it was, the only thing he did not have, and I do, is a remote control to it. It's about this freaking big. Got the cord and everything, not dry rotted, nothing. Has all of the big pin out, all the pins on it, the round pins. You can't find that thing anywhere. I've looked, I can't find it. It's so rare that I haven't been able to find it. I looked on different places, antique stereo equipment, can't find it. And it goes to more than one Sony reel-to-reel too. Robert, you said that when the Russians went into Ukraine, they were in Chernobyl, and the soldiers that were camping in the forest were hit with deadly doses of radiation, small doses on concrete areas. Yeah, I was going to say, because there's some areas that are still, like I said, you don't want to be anywhere near. And then sometimes, you know, you can go in there with a little small Geiger counter type thing, and it's okay levels. In other words, you can be there for the day, but I wouldn't suggest you stay. But they said even plant life was coming back, animal life was coming back, you name it. And anything that was like deformed, like an animal of that sort, was deformed, they pretty much died off or was eaten, one of the two. And then, of course, now normal life is now coming back, so that's a good sign, right? Yeah, you still don't want to actually live there. That would be a good idea. Somebody said I missed a question up here. Let's see if I can find it. Not seeing it so far. I'm not seeing it, Trevor. I'm looking for it. I'm not seeing it. I don't know how far back this thing goes, but I'm not seeing it. I don't know how long the question was, but if you don't mind typing it again, I don't see it. Renee Cruz, what's going on? Good to see you there. Glad you popped in. He said, morning, Chris and UFO community. Busy working, delivering U.S. mail like Barney Hill. It's my Friday, no overtime. Have an awesome live UFO show. I'll drop in for lunch, see if you're still on. I appreciate it. And yeah, be careful out there, right? I know that can be a little hectic, too. So, yeah. I'm not seeing it. I think it jumped on me here anyway. But again, H-Stars1AV, I appreciate you, man. Appreciate your support. Cameron, what's happening? So have a good stream, Chris, and have a good weekend. You do the same, Cameron. It's cool that you just pop in there and say hello. That's good. That's good. It's very good. It's reported Antarctica ice is melting 4 times faster than anywhere on the planet. There was another place I just looked at too, and said it was melting, and I'm like, I'm not surprised. I'm really not. Okay. As you wonder what my YouTube name stands for, it's simply just a short name. Well, that's what I kind of figured. I just didn't know what it was, right? But you said Merlin Pfeiffer. Okay, gotcha. Well, that's sweet. What's happening? Good to see you in there. This thing just jumped on me, and I'm going to try to get this thing back. Right. Well, that's what I remember you as, Susan A. You said, yeah, I used to be Susan Ann, which I do remember that. Yeah. Yeah, I couldn't find it, Trevor. I went back and for some reason I overlooked it, but I kept going back, and couldn't find it. He said, good, book ended by Mimi and figuratively comment. Okay. I went back, I couldn't find the darn thing. Steve Garnham, what's happening? Good to see you, man. He said, hello, Chris, and everyone. On my way home from watching Leeds United catch you all later. All right, man. Thanks for dropping in and saying hello. H+1AV said, because of the weakening magnetic fields at the poles, question mark? Allowing a massive amount of gamma radiation at the poles. Well, again, we're on the uptick to the 11-year cycle, right, of the sun. So we know it's going to get hotter throughout the solar system, not just here on Earth. And of course, there's other contributors and stuff like that. But that's the main reason why a lot of this. We do have global warming. Some people deny it, some people don't. We're not I should say we are contributing, but we're not the sole reason. Again, we're on an 11-year cycle. I forgot if we're like. Anybody know off the top of your head if it's like the 5th or 6th year into this 11-year cycle, which really starts to ramp up? I forget what it is now. But, you know, when that happens, every planet in the solar system heats up. It's just, that's the way it is. I mean, there's no way around it. Yeah, we're going to see much more accelerated melting of these different, whether it be Greenland, Iceland, the poles, I mean, you name it. That's when you're going to start to see oceans start to rise. Long Island, New York says, smash the like button. Bam! I say hit it good. I'm going to go back up here again and find this again. So how's everybody else been doing? Have they had any wild stuff going on this week? Hopefully good and not really bad, because I know some people say, oh, wasn't a good week for me or whatever. You know, that's not good either. But it happened, right? Yeah, I'm not seeing anything here. Oh, H-Toss 180. I didn't even see that other comment. He said, yeah, and I have the DBX2 400 processor. Okay, nice. Nice. Yeah, it's hard to find these things anymore, man. It's just like I said, I looked everywhere just for that remote control. And like I said, I can show you the thing. It's in plastic. And it's about this, it's about that big, and it's an old push button, you know. And it's, like I said, it's in great shape. A lot of times you find anything old equipment, it's like the rubber literally turns like a hard plastic and just disintegrates right in your hand. The plugs turn to trash. I mean, this is, you know, these are really in nice shape. Well, the whole unit is, but like I said, it just needs belts. It was working some years back when it was starting to get a little slow then. I was like, so I knew it. You could just see it like grabbing the reel, then stop a little bit, and yeah, I knew the belts were on their way out. But it's understandable. Now, let me see. Okay, now I'm seeing this. Trevor said, my question was if it's possible that Mars air could be breathable and temps much less harsher than they say. After all, we know that there are blue skies and clouds, and they hide that. I think it's not as harsh as they say it is. Now, is it possible it does get cold at night? I would say yes. But they have known to see it up to 104 degrees in the shade with the Curiosity rover. So it does actually get hot. It's kind of like the moon. It has no atmosphere, but, well, if it is, it's so little it's not even enough to talk about. But so it gets hot during the day and gets extremely cold at night. It's kind of like in the wintertime when you have, it's cold and it's going to drop real cold at night, but if you have a cloud cover, what does it do? It's like a blanket and it holds the heat in. It doesn't drop as much. So you have that radiation cooling if it's not cloudy out. So I believe it heats up pretty darn good during the day, and it does actually get cold at night. It's not as harsh as they claim it is. And like you talk about breathable air, they've claimed before that if you're closest to the ground, the more oxygen you'll have. So don't get me wrong, you probably go up 50 or 100 feet and probably suffocate and die. I don't know. But closest to the ground, it settles to the ground. That's, you know, I believe there is actually life on that planet somehow, whether it be organics, other life. I think there's absolutely life somehow on that planet, like I said. And like I said, when you're talking about breathable and temps much harsher than they say, and it's like I said, cold I get, but you can literally live underground and not have to worry about it. So you can come out during the day, no problems whatsoever, go underground, you're not going to freeze to death. It could be 250 degrees below zero, and I'm talking Fahrenheit. It could be that, you know, even if it's that cold, I doubt it is, but let's say it is, and I'm completely wrong. I'm okay with that. I don't have a problem with that because, like I said, you could live underground or live inside stone structures and stuff like that, and it would literally insulate you from the actual cold. So, you know, during the day, maybe they have some kind of heat exchange. They can literally take the heat and like heat up like something, and then it just gives it off at night. I don't know. You know, they may have technology we never even heard of. So, I don't know. Mimi Reaction said the nearest glacier is around 1.5 hours far away from me, from my town. The glacier is almost reduced to sand and brown. I'm not surprised. Not even surprised. Mick says, okay, everyone, got to run. Have a great weekend. See you, Chris. All right, Mick, thanks for being here. Appreciate you, man, and have yourself a good weekend there, right? Or at least the rest of it. H-1AV said it'll be perfectly restored. Count on that. Yeah, I mean, it's in great shape now. It really is. What I like about this thing, I remember seeing it back in the 70s and 80s when my uncle bought it brand new. He was the only owner to it. And He had it all set up, all stereo equipment. Had Bose 901s. He had all kinds of crazy stuff. I don't even, hold on, I don't know if they were the 901s. Because I know he had, both of them, he had them on a pedestal, and he had the other floor models. I think that, I don't know if they were the 501s. I could be mistaken, so I'm not 100%. Because he didn't have the 901s, because they usually have the EQ, the 2-band EQ with those. And the Bose he had, I don't know if those are the 501s, the floor standing, not the ones you put on the pedestal or something. But he had all top of the line. His turntable was all heat sensitive speeds. You could just put your finger on it and it would just change speeds and everything else. But really, really wild stuff for back then. He had big cash. He could buy all kinds of equipment back then. So what I love about this thing is not that clunk, clunk, clunk kind of junk. It's just literally just soft touch buttons and they all light up and everything else. Nice VUs, everything's nice. I'm always a big favorite of the VU meters. It's that all digital. Hillbilly Tarzan, what's going on? Good to see you in there, man. Yeah, so you know what I mean, H-Star. He said, familiar with the 40-plus year dissolving of soft parts. Yeah, I mean, especially cords. They really go to trash in a hurry. Josh D said, with the heating of our solar system, oxygenated water ice will be melting and add to atmosphere of Mars. Yeah. Well, I mean, it happens like the same thing that happens here on Earth. The poles, they literally melt. They melt, and then they come back in the colder months. So, you know, again, they used to say it was just nothing more than, you know, carbon ice. It'd be formed by pressure, which is true. That happens. But the more we looked at it, the more I studied this and started putting the pieces together, it's just water, regular H2O on those caps. It doesn't even... It doesn't even surprise me if there was. I even said that. I said, I guarantee there's water ice H2O on there. And then some like 4 or 5 years later said, yeah, there's water ice there as well, and then there's carbon ice on top. Just like we have here on Earth. It's no different. So you have some kind of water cycle or something in order to put that ice back on. You have something going on there that puts H2O and then of course your carbon. You go, wait a minute. So if it's doing that every year, how are we having carbon ice? What's putting that there? Now don't get me wrong, you have the atmosphere. Or the pressure rather. So I get that. And you go, okay, but it's a lot like Earth. You go, okay. Richard Bunt, what's going on? Says, hi, man. What's going on, Richard? Good to see you in there. Susan, you said there's probably food we haven't eaten or heard of. Yep, something that's just like indigenous to that planet, right? Ms. Heard, you said, Chris, was there a fire at your place? Yes. So I was saying this earlier where thankfully the owner has more than one store so I can bounce. But the problem with it is, like I was explaining earlier, is that it's hard to plan anything as far as videos. So I can't tell everybody, okay, by the way, Tuesday I'm going to put one out and then Thursday. It's hard for me to do that because, like I said, I'm working at this other store this week. Well, guess what? They didn't want us to bounce back to the old one. And we're going to count everything in the bloody store. And then we're going to figure out, you know, this is for, again, insurance claim or purposes. So we have to just do that next week. Oh, fantastic. I won't be doing it Monday, and I already told him I wouldn't be doing it Monday because my son's starting college, and he's going to be moving in on Monday. So won't be doing that, but the rest of the week we'll be over there. So ought to be a lot of fun. Of course, I'm being sarcastic, but yeah, it should be cool. I just got something on my lens here. Yeah, it ought to be a lot of fun. But like I said, thankfully, of course, it's still, you know, you didn't get, you know, it's not normal check I usually get because you actually work a little less hours because they're trying to fit you into the store and because they got their own employees, right? And then, of course, you kind of invade their store. But they didn't have any problems with it. They're just kind of like weird. It's like the other employees are like giving us the stink eye, like, who's that? Are they replacing us? Oh my God, what's going on? So it's like, you guys can keep your store, I could care less. And the funny thing about it is, it's kind of like these older people, and not all of them are, but they look either methed out, like they're some kind of crackheads or something. I'm just going, wow. Now, some people are really good people there, no problem. But then some of them are like you just go, you people, it's one thing to smoke a little weed, who cares? But these people are like, they've been into a lot more, and they're older. I'm like, okay. So when I went in there, and you know, I was putting stuff on the shelves. I was working circles on the guy that's been there for X amount of years. I'm going, what is with these people in here, man? You guys have a pulse? Put your fingers here and check to see if you got a pulse, and then try to act on it. Yeah. Figuratively speaking, says, well, everyone, I'm going to excuse myself so I can tend to my baby and being our afternoon routine. Hope you, Chris, and other fellow believers have a great day and always keep an open mind. Take care. I appreciate that, and have yourself a great weekend, and thanks for joining us, right? Family first, like I said. H. Dawes, one of these, said a 3-bedroom house ran about 20K in 1970. So did a 3-track RCA like a Sinatra. Oh, yes, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, even then, you know, if you get the average system, put it together, you know, you got your turntables, your reel-to-reels, receivers, all that other good stuff, and any kind of processors and everything else. I mean, it's nothing. And you go, well, it's only 20 grand. Back then, it was much more than that. And I forget what this reel-to-reel went for, because he told me years ago. But, I mean, I could look it up and see what it went originally. And you go, okay, it sounds affordable, but that's back then. I mean, you go back to the 70s, you're like, oh, my God. It's crazy. No, there was no one hurt there, Misheard. You said, wow, good, no one was hurt, and you still having work, Chris. Yeah, I mean, it's a little tougher because you got to try to juggle this, and, you know, wow. It's just crazy. All right, Suzanne, you said you're taking off. You said have a great night, Chris. Oh, guys and dolls, rather. I'm sorry. As always, I love seeing you all. Thanks, Chris. You're awesome. Got to go. Love and light. Appreciate that, Suzanne Ann. And if everybody wants to check her channel out, just look up Susan A. You can see it right there. Check out her channel, and we'll go from there. In fact, let me see something. Maybe I can even find this. Oh, I'm going to do it this way. I put the screen 100% here. Let me do this. It'd be easier. Maybe see something here. Then we're going to roll on to some of the things we've got, like space news. What's funny about it is I was looking up let me see, do this. Oops. I'm not finding your channel. Susan Ann, I'm not finding it. I don't know if you have a link or something like that you can give us. Let me do this. Let me go here. Not finding her. Because your avatar actually has your face, or someone's face, but I'm not seeing it here. I don't know if you go by Susan A or Susan Ann, but I put both. Still can't find it. Got Susan Boyle. Pete's Vlogs, what's going on? Says, yo, what's going on, Pete? Ms. Herb, thank you very much for your support. I do appreciate you. Always a continuing supporter of the channel. You're awesome, as always, like most of you are. It's just great. Yeah, I couldn't find Susan's channel. I was hoping to find it. Hillbilly Tarzan, you said I had to go for a minute. I don't know if you mentioned whether or not you have a PayPal link to support you. I do. It's right at the top of the chat section, Hillbilly Tarzan. If anybody doesn't want to use this particular super chat or anything like that sort. But I do have a link at the very top of the chat box. And I appreciate you. Anybody wants to support the channel. And Ms. Hurd says, great to be here and love visiting you all. Visit you all. Yeah, I mean, it's cool to be able to still get together. That's why I was kind of like, I was like I said, I was like, well, I'm never going to make it home in time on Friday. I said, let me do this. I'll just ask them to find folks there if they want to do it on Saturday. Why not, right? And kind of glad I did, because I like being with you folks. It's cool to be able to hang out. Huron Pack says, on Mars, looks like a battlefield with bones and corpses. I wonder how it actually behaves with pure biomass under the local atmosphere. I don't know. That's a great question. He said decomposition process, etc. Yeah, I wonder if it's slow to do that, right? And maybe that's why we're seeing a lot of this stuff. What I don't get is the reason, well, I shouldn't say I don't get. I've always said that what we're seeing in these photos, you can clearly see that it wasn't that long ago. Now, if you were to think of the windstorms, and because there still is a water cycle on this planet, if it was regular metal they used, then it would have been rusted and gone long, long time ago. Even by sand blasting, basically in a nutshell, even at 300-mile-an-hour winds, they say because of the atmosphere and everything else, it's probably equivalent to 50, 60 miles an hour. So 300 miles an hour there is really 50 to 60 miles an hour here, okay? So I went, I don't care. I wouldn't want to be sitting right in the middle of a sandstorm at 50, 60 miles an hour just pelting you in the face. That would not be good. So if you get it over a course of time, if let's say they're saying millions of years ago, that stuff wouldn't even be around. You wouldn't be able to see it. Unless, of course, it's some serious metal or some kind of, maybe they built everything out of aluminum or aluminium, depending how you want to pronounce it. You don't know. I mean, maybe it's a substance that wouldn't erode or any of that sort, right? But they had to build everything out of it. But my thing is water and basically sand. Wind with sand. I wouldn't think anything would be there by now. That's why I believe when you say, when we look at this and say somewhere like the early 1940s, like 41, that they had seen what looks like two flashes in the lower atmosphere of Mars, you go, okay, so if we're going to 40, okay, fallout, 80, 90 years, okay, it's kind of going with that. And if we're not at the actual epicenter of that, then we have a lot less chance of having anything happen to us as far as human beings. Fits perfectly. I mean, does anybody have different ideas about that? Thinking maybe not so much? I don't know. Mars Lakes, thank you very much for your support, man. I do appreciate that. That is awesome. Mr. Wonderful says, 3 a.m. here in Australia, Chris. Support your work and we'll watch the replay. Cheers. I appreciate you guys, man. You guys are awesome. That's cool. That is awesome. Hi, Joebot. Chris, if you had a store on Mars, you could work and do videos. That would be cool. Oh. Anybody building a spaceship we know about? Oh. Elon. Oh. Something tells me, and I said this before, it's like if you won that big lottery that just people won. What was it? I forget what it was. It was like 1.4, was it? Was it 1.4 billion? Think about that a minute. If I mean, you would literally go to a space agency. Listen, I just need a small spacecraft built. Okay, I need to just go into the lower atmosphere of Mars. I need to have it take pictures, and then it could just disintegrate for all I care. It needs to be sent back to me personally. I need to see this for myself. Or you could do it to these, the Deep Space Network, just get in chummy with somebody or pay them off, and then they get these photos and they see the real photos. Then you go, oh my God, that's just cool. Something tells me anybody like Elon could do that. They could do that. Who's going to know? I'll just, I'm filthy rich. I don't have to worry about it. I'll go ahead and send something, and there you go. Right? Makes sense to me. You could do that. Frack. Did anyone think I left my post? No, you're still here. You're good. Flux capacitor, what's happening? He said, few Bigfoot UAP phenomena conferences here in Mid-South lately. I'd like to see what one's like. Yeah, that would be cool. I've never been to one of those myself. I'm not a big fan of Bigfoot. Now, I'm not saying it's possible it did not exist, right? I'm just more sciencey. I'm just more into out there. Now, I'm not saying it doesn't intrigue me. It may be just some kind of animal that's, I don't know if we want to call it crossbred at one point and somehow it ended up like that. Or, you know, like I said, I remember watching Ancient Aliens, and I love the show. But the second they came out with, was Bigfoot an alien? I went, I'm done. I'm done. Now, is there some weird chance? I mean, I can't. I can't do it. Emperor 6979. Nice to see the chat on Saturday. Been watching from afar, unable to watch on Friday nights. Well, yeah, I'm glad you could join us then. That's cool. Yeah, it's kind of like, I'm trying to get it where, I can't get this here, hold on. Oh, let's see. I'm trying to get it to where we could do that, but it's just this weird timing for me, so I can't see anything stable at this point, you know, what's going to be, you know what I mean? If I can say, oh, like I said, we're going to make videos on Thursdays and Fridays, we're going to have this. Because my hours are all over the place, it's kind of hard to tell, right? I love this, and this may actually be true. It's equatorial Mars is surprisingly dry, NASA's InSight lander finds, but the finding is by no means definitive, right? So, and I'm going, oh, come on, guys, you're just making this crap up. But then I went, wait a minute, hold on. If you're in the equatorial region, it's kind of like Earth. It's the hottest. Is it possible everything's completely dried up? That's right there at the equatorial region. Absolutely. You know, you go to any planet at the equatorial, usually it's going to be the hottest area. So it makes perfect sense. So is it a possibility what they're finding is complete dry and hardly any water at all? Sure. Even brine, right? Healer says, hello from Amerigo Beach, British Columbia, Canada. That's awesome. Let me see here. Well, they just kind of jumped at me at the same time. I love it when, like I said, you just scroll down a little bit, and thing takes off on you. Josh D said, you could be store manager of Elon on Mars. Sounds like a plan. Maybe I don't need a spaceship. A house would be enough. Yeah, well, I said if you had to get there, I'd be fine with that. Oh, yeah, what do we got here? The chances of finding Martian life appear poor at the vicinity of NASA's InSight lander. The InSight mission uncovered little or no sign of water, ice, and nearly 1,000 feet or 300 meters below the lander, a new study shows. Remember they were trying to do that? There was using the equipment to try to find any kind of water that may be under that surface. And it may very well be that because it's right there at the equatorial region, that is that dry, right? So it's a very good possibility that this is actually accurate. The subsurface around the landing zone, an equatorial site chosen especially for its flat terrain and good Marsquake potential, appears loose and porous with few ice grains in between gaps in the crust, researchers say. Now, I remember this thing landing, and you could see the actual background. They look like they're structures or some kind of intelligently made objects sitting off in the distance. I'm going, it would make sense to me if Mars, if they went there and then 1,000,000% unequivocally they're saying, well, look, there's actually equipment and all kinds of crazy stuff all over this planet. Why would you not want to look underground? Think about it. Like we always say, maybe they went underground. Is it a possibility that's what they're really looking for, as well as water too? Of course, they're doing this test and everything else. I get that. But I think it's more than that. Because they're thinking if there's nothing alive on the surface, and it makes sense they would send robots in case anything was hostile on that planet, because it literally, kill you off or whatever. So you go, okay, well, it makes sense that you'd send machines and you're actually checking out the planet and within the planet as well, right? So I don't know. I mean, 1,000 feet down is pretty deep and they couldn't find water or anything, but it's weird how that lander was in a certain spot and it kept hearing them noises like clanging, ding, 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 ding. And it would be like off in the distance, get louder, 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 and then off it would go. It's almost like something was moving under it. And it's just weird how they're like, they got a seismograph there. They're trying to, hear and then sense things underground. And I don't know. I think it's much more than just trying to find water, right? These findings don't preclude that there could be grains of ice or small balls of ice that are not cementing other minerals together, said study lead author and geophysicist Vachon, of the Scripps Institution of Oceanography at the University of California, San Diego. The question is, how likely is ice to be present in that form, right? Said in a statement. Another possible indication of water is rocks cemented together below the landing surface or landing area, but InSight hasn't found evidence of widespread cemented sediments, the statement added. So, yeah, let me see something here. I'm not going to show anything here.
Touchdown confirmed.
InSight has been fantastically successful. We've gotten more science than we had ever dreamed that we would get during the course of this mission. InSight's primary goal was to better understand how the terrestrial planets, the rocky planets, formed and evolved.
First, we landed an incredibly sensitive seismometer on the surface of Mars, and with that we were able to record over 1,300 Marsquakes.
And these range all the way from tiny little temblors that just barely go over the noise background to a handful of quakes that were larger than magnitude 4.
And feeling those vibrations, the scientists can actually take that information and use that to reconstruct all the material that those Marsquakes traveled through and thereby see the interior of the planet.
We looked at its core, which is big and not very dense. We looked at its mantle, which is not so hot. And we looked at its crust, which is not too thick and not too dense compared to some of our pre-mission expectations.
By measuring the detailed structure of the inside of Mars, it gives us a snapshot of what the planet looked like 4.5 billion years ago. The other thing that we've been able to do is make a very detailed record of the weather at Mars. So we have a really good weather station, which has allowed meteorologists to study the weather at the InSight landing site and relate that to the climate changes on Mars.
What we didn't do, unfortunately, was make the heat flow measurement we wanted to make. Our heat flow probe was supposed to get 3 to 5 meters down, and we were unable to reach that depth.
But we were able to get some of those measurements, such as the heat transfer amongst the soil.
InSight is a solar-powered mission. We have solar panels, and they were designed to give us enough power to easily get through the first 2 years.
But there's a lot of dust in Mars' atmosphere, and that's falling down on top of our solar arrays and slowly blocking the sun.
As the panels are getting dustier, we started racking our brains with whether there's anything we can do to try to clean off those panels ourselves.
When the idea of using dirt to clean the solar arrays was first proposed, it seemed counterintuitive.
We were actually able to use the arm and the scoop to scoop up some soil from the ground and dump it over the lander, having some of that heavier sand blow onto the arrays and knock some of the dust off. So we essentially used it as an array cleaning tool.
Cleaning with dirt actually worked.
It allowed us to actually keep the instruments going during the low power season where the Mars is farthest from the sun during the winter. Unfortunately, later this summer, we think that the power is going to be dropping so quickly due to the atmosphere getting dustier, due to the alignment of Mars and the sun.
We're going to be at a point where we can no longer have all of our instruments on, which means we'll be turning off the seismometer and other instruments on board.
The last day is going to be bittersweet. Obviously, we're preparing for it. We know it's coming. But that first moment where we don't hear from the lander when we expect to, that's going to be tough.
It's left a permanent mark on me. I literally tattooed insight onto my arm. I'll never let it go.
We've really rewritten sort of the chapter of the encyclopedia on the interior of Mars. That was our last big hole in our understanding of the planet.
There's a lot of data that people are going to be looking at for decades to come.
We accomplished so many of our science goals, and we're going to have something to look back on and be proud.
Now, call me silly here, folks, but I'm going, okay, so smartest people on the planet putting together insight. And it's not just like 5 people doing this thing, right? There is a bunch of people throwing this thing together. Okay. Now, there's a lot of smart people in this chat room here. Wouldn't it make sense, and again, I may be goofy here, to put like an ear line at the end of the arm and just have like a small compressor just sprays air? Is that too much to ask on a multi-billion-dollar piece of equipment? Am I just nuts here, or is it that, like, too much to ask? You can't tell me this thing can't turn on a little compressor, like a little bike, or like a tire compressor you can put on your, what do you call it, pump up your tires on your vehicle, or a bicycle, or whatever you got, lawn equipment. You're telling me they can't put a simple compressor and literally like build up pressure and then release it with a relay and blow that stuff off? Are you kidding me right now? Who's the only one that thinks this is, am I the only one that just thinks that's nuts? I just find it really weird that they can't figure this out. Hillbilly Dazzy said, well, what do you know? Climate change is so bad it's now affecting Mars. I don't know. It's kind of like the other vehicles. Now, they had electrostatic charge that they put over the top. It's like a light skin over the solar panels. It would literally just disperse anything that was light dust. And it made sense. Okay. Of course, those gave up. Well, had such a bad storm, can't even clean it off. I get that. But this thing's got an arm to it. Just like Curiosity is. Of course, Curiosity is what? It's nuclear power, just like Perseverance. But you got a lander here that is just solar power. I went, okay. So if you want to get an X amount of time to be able to do all kinds of studies for an X amount of time, you want a certain window, would you not just make that nuclear powered as well? It just makes sense to me. And if you didn't want to do that because it's even more costly or didn't have the room, I get that too, then put a small compressor on this thing. I'm blown away. I'm absolutely blown away. The smartest people on the planet can't figure this out. No, let me see this. Mimi, well, that's a good question too. Why would you use solar panels on a dusty planet? Now, and again, they always say that the sun's very dim due to the dust. Is it not contradictive? Again, and that's a great question. I've asked this myself many times, and I'm sure we've brought this up many times during the chat. I'm going, so you got to, according to you, there's hardly any sunlight due to dust in the air. Now, it's not always like that, don't get me wrong. But I'm going, okay, so why would you use that as a power source, solar power? Unless they're just jerking with us and they're saying, yeah, we can clean them off. And then we're just going to tell you, by the way, the inside took a dump. It's no longer working. Just like I said about the Opportunity rover, they said it got stuck. Well, it had a bad dust storm, so therefore it completely stopped working because it covered the solar panels and it couldn't charge up its batteries. And once it goes too low, it just shuts down completely, right? I get that. But I'm going, why would you do that? So is it possible they actually have a power, like a nuclear power plant as well, right? So if they did that, they could just say, oh yeah, the solar panels they're getting covered, and therefore we can't, continue to run the equipment or whatever. And I said before, I think the Opportunity is still driving around. How would you know that it's not or not? Because it just doesn't make, there's no logic in that using solar panels. There's none. But even if you had to, and they're good size, if you look at the 2 round solar panels on the InSight lander, they're quite large. So use something that can compress the air off of it, off the dust rather. It doesn't make sense. Mike Knapp, what's going on? Good to see you in there, brother. Good to see you in there. Terry Byers, you said, you are not nuts. They are just so smart, they're dumb. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like the lander when the first lander they put on Mars, right, the Viking lander, back in 75, 76. Like I said, the very 2 pieces of equipment I put on there is eyes and ears. I wouldn't care about anything else. It's like, I don't care if you just sent it just that and made it the best quality, best technology that money could buy. You put it on there. You don't just run just a camera. Come on. And that's why I said I believe that they knew way back then they had sound bites and everything. What's going to be easy to transfer, a video bite or an audio bite? Come on. I'm just dumbfounded that these people are so darn smart and yet so stupid. I don't think so. Wizardry. Can't they retract the solar panels and reopen them? And I said that before, because if you look at the way this thing's built, let's see if we can find it again, right here. Okay, so let's make this full screen again. They do actually open because it was just one panel and it would just, kind of like a Chinese fan, right? You would literally just open it up. It's kind of similar to that. And so if that's the case, wouldn't they have like little brushes on each of these supports and just get the dust off them? Or just blow the dust off with the arm? Doesn't make sense. It simply doesn't make any sense. Mars League says it's just for show, Chris. You know what? That may very well be. Because it gives them a perfect opportunity to say, oh, guys, we were doing such great work and bad dust storm. I'm sorry, that equipment's no longer working and we got to junk it. Or just leave it be. Obviously, you can't do anything with it. But in the meantime, we go, okay, we duped them. We don't have to show the public anything anymore. Okay, back to reality. Let's get... thank God we get that nuclear power plant on there. Think about it. They could do that. Josh D said they can make a nuclear power reactor the size of a cola can. Exactly. I mean, if you look at the one on the Curiosity as well as Perseverance, they're not very big. And when I say not very big, I don't think those things are... I've seen them. They used them on the moon, too. Think about that a minute, on the moon. They had, and I think I showed you guys a comparison with the one they used and the one that they have on the rovers, and they're very, very, very similar. You're talking, what, 3 feet high? And then, of course, it's got the fins on it for, like, I think it's for, like, heat dispersion. But, okay, so I get that. Again, those will run forever. The wheels and everything will fall off because it's, it's nuclear powered. And it would probably outlast the actual machine itself, wheels and anything else. Why they do this with these solar panels is beyond me, unless they just want to make it very short life to the public. Oh, by the way, it's no longer functioning. We would have hoped it would have lasted longer, but no, we won't. So in the meantime, they go, okay, we don't have to, like continue support. It's kind of like having a Windows 7 or something like, okay, we're not going to continue support for that, so let's just, tell the public it's done. And they could probably do the same thing. Oh, we just don't want to show the public anymore, so just say it died, quote unquote. You and I will never know the difference. We will never know in a million years if that's true. Third eye open. Hi everyone. Sorry I'm late. You're fine. Glad to see you in there. And I think Lisa Potter's in there as well. So we need more money to build another rover. LOL. Yeah, I mean, nice to see you ladies in there, by the way. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's mind-boggling how they're so smart and yet so stupid. But like I said, when I was a tool setter, setting up machines, and the guys up in engineering, they would literally build you anything you needed for that machine. The problem with the machine is that it's 50 years old and it's got so much wear and tear. Those basically blueprints are kind of useless. You got to, once you get the part and it's made for that machine, you have to take in consideration this play in the machine, and it's no longer the same way. After 50 years, slides have been changed, different things have been moved, and it's not the same. So now you have to take that brand new tool die and you have to rework it. It just makes no darn sense. So it's the same thing here. It's like smart people dumps a box of rocks. I don't think so. I think they just have a way of cleaning that off. John Shaw, he said, oh, hello, I just got in, got my times mixed up here in the UK. Oh, you're fine, John. Good to see you in there. Kurt Urbanus, what's going on? Good to see you in there. Didn't see you jump in there. Let me see. I don't remember if it was Merlin or Marlin. Pfeiffer, but you said I took a closer look at I think you showed this before, and I was trying to find this back again. Look at the Atlantis Chaos Region satellite images by JPL. I found some impressive structures, including plane, not ones you've covered. Is there any way I can share these with you? Yeah, you can always share it at, of course, I'm going to be honest with you, I haven't checked my email in I don't know how long. I probably have 8,000 friggin' things in there now. And that's being truthful. But I will check it if you do send it, and I'll have to go over these things and see if there's how much junk is in there now. I'm actually afraid. But yeah, you can send it to marsanomalies@aol.com, and I'll be more than happy to take a look at it. Mars Leagues, he says, if we've been bamboozled long enough, we tend to reject any evidence of the bamboozle. Yep. We're no longer interested in finding out the truth, Carl Sagan. Wonder if he talked about NASA. Well, I think he was in the know. I mean, come on, you'd have to be, there's no way he didn't know what was going on. I don't think so. And most of these guys probably say, you know what, we'll just keep it under our hats and, not mention a thing, because again, their career's on the line, whatever it may be, so they're just like, shh, don't say a word about it. And you can't blame them in a sense, because basically their life is over, and that's the last thing you want to do. So, Backyard Astronaut, what's happening? He said, good evening, Chris. What's going on? Hope you're doing well. Okay, you said you send it right now. Okay. What's going on there, Equalizer? Good to see you in there. He said, hi, Chris. Everyone in the house, good evening. What's going on, Equalizer? I hope you're doing well, like I said. Richard, you said, I think technology has got slow. It's like the big boys up at the top ran out of new ideas. Actually, I think they want us to believe they're stagnant, but I don't think that's the case at all. I think I think there's much more going on, and they're just kind of like, it's kind of like a snail's pace, kind of like feed it to the public. But they're probably like 20, 30 years ahead of everybody in as far as like letting us know what's going on. And there might be much more going on than we know. How do we know that there wasn't something else set up? There was sent up there, like other rovers or other helicopters or drones or anything. How do we know? I mean, couldn't they send it in a much smaller rocket, something smaller? It doesn't have to be anything gigantic to send like what they send, like the InSight, the rovers, and all this other stuff. If you're sending a very small object to Mars, I can't imagine you have to use something super large, right? Backyard astronaut, you said, had a blast last night scoping. Oh yeah, I guarantee it. H-DOS1AV says Sagan was in no, didn't like it at all. Demon Haunted World laid it out. Huh. Flux Capacity said, meant could be 80s tech we're just now seeing. That could be. And like I said, it's just, I don't know. It's like, is it possible they sent these things to Mars sooner than they claimed, and they're just letting out the videos now? Although there are rockets literally taking off of these places, right? We know that for a fact. So is it possible these things are just, fake? I don't know. And if it is the real deal, I'm fine with that too. In other words, they're sending them the times they said they did, like, 2012, 2020, 1997, so on, 2004, and all of all of these things did actually go up at that time. But we don't know if anything else has been sent. Because, you could bet, it's like if you're trying to keep something, if you're trying to be on the sneak, you're not going to share this with the public. It's just not going to make sense. It's like, okay, we're going to let them see what we want them to see, but then let's go up there and do the real work. They could have sent up 2 rovers for the price of 1. We don't know that. Could have sent up other drones along with it. How do we know that? All they have to do is send a signal of the pictures that they take and then send it up to the orbiters, and then, of course, it sends the information back to the Deep Space Network. They don't need literally a rover to drop the thing off. Could have been in a smaller rocket. Could have been in anything. Or it was in the same rocket as, like the Perseverance, and they had more than 1 helicopter. We don't know. We have no idea. Yeah, you take it off, Frack? If you are, have a good day. Thanks for stopping in, as always. Yeah, amazing how that looks, Equalizer, huh? You said, did you see China launch their space plane? Looks like the X-37B or 37B. Yeah. Have you guys seen their new space station, too? This thing's coming along. See the huge solar wings of China's space station in motion above Earth. So, yep. Check this out. I don't know if it'll actually have sound. Yeah, interesting. So everybody's going to be out there with all these space stations and every other darn thing. Pretty wild, right? But it seemed to me, like you said, the Equalizer, they do have something like a plane or something like that. But it's like they're getting up there just with NASA and everybody else. But if you noticed, look who's hosting the video. Space.com, which is affiliated with NASA, the whole 9 yards. These people are working together, although they claim they're not. Yeah. Martian's 2 solar arrays are each nearly 98 feet long or 30 meters long. Together they have a total wingspan of over 180 feet or 55 meters. Each solar panel has a collecting area of about 1,184 square feet or 110 square meters. China plans to launch a third and final module to the Tiangong in October called Martian. I love the names they come out with. That experiment module will also carry a pair of large solar arrays similar to those on Martian. Okay. The solar panels are designed to provide power for the Tiangong space station, which China plans to keep permanently inhabited by rotating crews of 3 astronauts for over a decade. Meanwhile, the older, larger International Space Station has solar arrays with a wingspan of 240 feet, 73 meters, to power its activities in orbit. Anyway, when completed, Tiangong will be around 20% as massive as the International Space Station, which has a mass of about 460 tons. So yeah, fun. John Sharp, thank you very much for your support, brother. I do appreciate you. That's awesome. Yeah, so, I mean, it's kind of like, I don't know, it still seems like a drawn-out space race, if that makes sense. Because you think space race, any kind of race is like, boom, let's get it done as quick as we can. But it's almost like they're just putting their strategic pieces out there. Oh, we want to be spacefaring too at some point, blah, 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 blah. Which I have no problem with it, because China's actually pretty brilliant too, right? So that's pretty cool. Love to be able to see all that. What is it? Rashomania Jones, you said they send rockets in space while we sleep. Well, if you do that when everybody, like you said, let's say it's in your part of the world, and it's like 3 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning, usually there's not a whole lot of people that are up. And unless you're a country that is your enemy, they're not going to care. No country's going to give a crap whether they see something go up in the air. They're going to be like, probably just testing. They won't know the difference. Pete Ferrari says, suddenly the landing, I was going to say landing because I'm looking over here too. The launching views have stopped from everywhere. Imagine that. Stephen Adam, depending on how you look at it, liking a lot your channel and content. In your opinion, why no rover on the moon? Cheers from Abram, UK. Well, there have been and are rovers on the moon. We have China's rovers up there. We've had the Chang'e 3, the Chang'e 4. Of course, most of them were, we had landers as well as rovers. And we've also had the Lunicod, which was basically the Soviet Union back in early days. It was like, I think it was what, 69 guys? Was it 71, somewhere roughly in there? When it was like 69, we had Apollo 11. And then it was right around that time, 69, 70, that they sent, again, at the time, Soviet Union, they sent the Lunicod rover up there. And there was a series of those things they were going to send up there. So there has been some on the moon, and there is now. So, and there'll be more. Trust me on that. There'll definitely be more. Josh D said a nano satellite size of a shoebox could easily and cheaply be launched to Mars and have a very good camera and radio to send the pics back. Yeah, I mean, it would be awesome to be able to do that. Think about it. It'd be cool. I love this. This has nothing to do with space, but enormous sinkhole wide enough to swallow the White House opens in Chile. The pit is more than 100 feet or 30 meters across and maybe 6 times as deep. What? I mean, think about it. That is huge. The enormous sinkhole wide enough to swallow the White House has opened up on a plot of mining land, which now explains it, according to the country's National Service of Geology and Mining. The gaping 104-foot wide, or 32-meter sinkhole appeared Saturday, July 30th, in a rural area outside the town of Tierra Amarillo, about 500 miles or 800 kilometers north of the capital city, San Diego. Diego, depending on how you want to pronounce it. Some people pronounce it both ways. In comparison, the White House measures about 85 feet or 26 meters wide. The hole appears to be about 656 feet or 200 meters deep, with a reservoir of water sloshing around the bottom, according to. Well, it kind of makes sense. If you're near a mining site, then you're gonna have all this kind of stuff, right? You're gonna have these sinkholes that just appear out of everywhere. It's insane how big these things are. And like I said, there was, and I think I told you guys a story a long time ago, where when I was a young kid, I had a farmer actually ask me what he thought, caused earthquakes. And of course, I gave him the answer. Well, you got, seismic activity because you got two land masses touching, and one of them eventually they go up against each other. One goes under the other, and it finally gives, and you get an earthquake. He goes, well, that's true. He said, but that's not the only reason. Now, of course, you have, like they have here, they have a mining site. Well, it's the same thing with oil. They pull millions of barrels of oil out of the ground. What are they putting back? And I sat there and went, huh, great question. Now, a lot of times they try to fill it with something, like water or whatever, but I'm going, but if they're not filling it with it, can you imagine the size of the cavern that's left over after all the oil has been drilled out of it and sucked out of the ground? That's literally holding up landmass. At some point, it has to cave and sending earthquakes in different parts of the crust, depending on how deep this hole is or how much they've drilled. So it makes perfect sense that that could be the issue, too. I like that. Yeah, I definitely unmuted, yeah. Oh, John Schaub, no, yeah, I appreciate you one way or the other. He said, it's all I got after the electric bill. Yeah, isn't it brutal? And depending depending on what part of the world you're in, and like my whole house is electric, so, I see people that are spending like, oh my God, gobs of money. In wintertime, it's always rougher. Anybody who lives in a house that has all electric, you'll know what I'm talking about. But it can be brutal, but you just got to watch, make sure the doorways are sealed up, everything's right, and windows are sealed and everything's good. And we have double pane windows and all that stuff. So, and of course I put the, weather stripping on the doors and keep everything nice, watch the bills, da-da-da-da-da. So, not bad. Oh, let me see. Did I miss that? Hot Chili Fashion says, late here. Good night all from Vietnam. Appreciate you being here, man. You have yourself a great weekend, what's left of it for you. And, yeah, be safe there, right? Appreciate you joining us. Renee V says, chat was just in the car, finally home, everything okay with everyone? Yeah, we're good, man. I appreciate you being there, Renee. Cool. P. Ferrari, that's a good one. He said, the area under the White House is probably bigger. Yeah, you can almost bet on it. And it branches out in tunnel ways and everything else. Ali Khan, what's going on? He said, no, I don't think so. Not yet, anyway. I'm a star seed Leo. Oh, so you were responding. Okay, I got you. John M. says, please check out the Google Earth Moon Apollo 16 landing site, Station 6 photo. The astronaut is standing behind the rover, but when you zoom in over his shoulder, or his left shoulder, there's something in front of him. You know, there's a lot of things that are crazy in those photos. Oh my God. I've seen it where they try to hide so much of what's around. In other words, you got the moon buggy, right? They're trying to hide so much what's behind it. They literally go into it, and they literally go into the actual part of the photo where the rover is. So you see like part of the wheel going. There's like so much stuff there that it's just trying to do everything they can to go tightly around the rover's details, the edge, and they literally go into the rover. It's crazy how much they hide in these photos. You're right. So that doesn't surprise me at all, John. Not at all. Billy Tarzan, he said, I'm going to send my wife to boss at NASA. I bet she can get something done. She has just finished giving me orders. Yeah, nothing wrong with that, you know. Oliver Klein, what's happening? He said, hi, everyone. Hanging out. What's going on, man? Good to have you in there, Oliver. Josh D, you said, we in Holland have this with natural gas, no fault lines, but wreck damaging houses when empty fire. Where empty? Okay, where empty fields are. Okay, I got you. Yeah, because it's literally caving in, right? So it's going to take anything that's in that area down the hole, or at least crack in the ground and start falling. You know. Hillbilly Tarzan said, "There's something going on. There are two circular. What? Oh, they are two circular, just to be random cylindrical holes opening in the ground." Yeah, some of them are just weird, right? I said the same thing. You'd think it would just like be. I mean, you can see it's not 100%, right? It's not 100% round, but it's pretty darn good. It's almost like something's like just blasted it purposely and just boom, just perfect. Let me see. P. Ferrer said giant sinkhole also opened in Baltimore neighborhood. Yeah, I haven't seen that one. Yeah, flux capacity said bots just arrived. Yeah, we took care of that. Yep. Gone with the wind. Corey's even going, what the F? A Spambot found us. And then they got lost. Trolls in the chat. Yeah, we see it a lot, Pete. You know, you get these stupid sex bots in there. That's funny as hell. Kill the bot. Oh, no, we got rid of him, frack. He said, mods are asleep. We don't have mods on this channel. John Shop, what the hell? Is that porn? Yeah. They were looking, yeah, there you go, Miss Hurd. He said, yeah, they're basically looking for frack. Say, come with us. We want to show you something. William M. Kennedy Jr. said, the moon trip, man. I mean, come on, there's some stuff there. Oh, yeah, 100%. Oliver Klein, yeah, there you go. They can now fill the sinkhole with trash. Well, here's the weird thing. I mean, I know you've seen that that they're doing everything they can now to skim the waters in the oceans for the plastic. You've seen a ton of that in the oceans and everything else. So they're doing their best to like kind of skim that out and get it out. Because I mean, why not just recycle this stuff, right? How much plastic is out there? It's crazy, right? William said, I'm an old hippie. I know it's going on in the moon. Oh, yeah. David Gossimo, what's happening? He said, Chris, on a Saturday. Nice to see you. Nice to see you as well, man. Good to see you, David. That's awesome. Yeah, because I know some of you folks cannot do it on Friday evening, and I kind of get that, or afternoon. It's because it's early afternoon, right, or evening. And so I get that. It's kind of tough, but it's just nice to be able to, you know, spend a little time with you guys, you know. Josh, he says, it says it's helpful review. Porn is boring compared to what Chris is telling, and this chat, LOL, what an idiot. Well, I look at it this way. Anybody can look at that garbage. I remember, oh my God, back in the day, my buddy was on a computer at that job where I was a tool setter. He'd show me all kinds of garbage on there. I'm talking about garbage now. It's one thing to see, like, you know, people engaging in weirdness and everything else, but when you start seeing creepy stuff with animals, dude, please stop. Stop. I'm good. Because, you know, the first time he showed me something like that, I'm looking at it, he goes, oh no, I want to show you something on the screen. I'm like, what are you talking about? And he had at the time, this goes back in the 80s, right? It was a probably 20-inch CRT monitor, right? And the picture was like this big. Now, the screen's like this big, but it's like this little picture. I'm going, he goes, no, stand in the way. So this way, if the boss comes in, he won't say, I'm like, what are you talking about? What are we looking at here? And then he made the screen bigger. I went, oh, dude, I'm good, bro. He said, my friend sends me this trash. I went, really? I said, he goes, it's funny. He said, I got to admit, it's funny. It's disgusting. But I said, dude, I don't want to see this trash again. I'm good. I am good. Ali Khan, you said, like the movie AVP, Antarctica. Yeah, remember how it blows a hole, that big laser hole, right into the Antarctica area and down into that, well, I forget how many degrees it was going down, but it went down to that pyramid underground. Oliver Klein says, saw same holes in Russia. Same round, same straight walls, no spill or mud around, quite deep. The Russians said it was methane bubble that slowly rises up and then collapses below. Well, that's true too. Air could do that. David, you said Saturday's a great time for me. Friday, Thursdays, so very busy. Yeah, I can understand that too. And AV said it's warm here in the Netherlands in the South Holland area. Many roadside fires, dunes fire. Yeah. Yep. Hillbilly says, I got to run. Be right back. Yeah, David, you said the hole looks amazing. Looks identical to the ones I've seen on Mars and on the moon. Remember, they were showing the ones that are on the moon, and it said that they could be old lava tube type things, and they're coming up through the ground. And that's what they were thinking about. If it's solid, they could build an actual moon base under there because it's away from radiation. It's they could build it down there and literally not have to worry about that, or some kind of something hitting the moon, like a meteor or anything of that sort, because it'll be underground. Oliver Klein said, sun UV rays reaching that deep, it cooks Earth like a microwave. We have high ground UV radiation. The search for extraterrestrial intelligence. What's going on? He said, hi. How you been? I hope you're fine. Better tomorrow, says Acme Black Hole. Roadrunner at it again. Yep, sounds about right. Miss Heard, you said, with all this awful heat and wildfires everywhere, it is as if our planet is slowly burning up. You're right. Rashmare, yeah, you said, back in the day we had to dial a 1-800 number for the internet. Yep. Yes, we did. John, can anyone help me? I'm trying to get on the nude site. No. Watch out, you go blind. Go easy. Oh. Oh, my God. The sad thing about it is my buddy was telling me, I guess he sees a ton of this trash, and he said, yeah, he just gets desensitized to it. Now it's just a joke now. So if you say so. Yeah, Pete, yeah. Pete says, is that a sinkhole? Yeah. And it's about, I think they said 104 foot wide, or 32 meters. It's pretty large. I don't know if you guys have seen it. This is cool. Now this was, it says, gigantic jet that shot into space, maybe the most powerful lightning bolt ever detected. And I'll show you the recording of this. It's pretty cool. Let me see here. Boom, 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 boom. Oh, anyway, you can see those, like, the cloud tops actually growing. Man, that's cool how it just shot out from the top of the cloud like that. That's amazing. That was actually kind of scary too. Mr. Lemmy Watcher, what's going on? He said, hi, Chris, and all. Hope all is well. We're doing good, man. How you been? Good to see you in there. The search for extraterrestrial intelligence. I've also read in another book that extraterrestrial beings can live 600 years. I mean, I don't know truthfully how long they could live. Depends on how technologically advanced they are and how they... It's kind of like they say there's certain things in our bodies that limit us our age. So if we can, you know, overcome that, you would live longer too, right? You know, so basically the aging process can be slowed down. Pete Ferreira said, just heard fire on main Hawaiian island, growing and not controlled. Man, that ain't good. That is not good. H. Charles 1AV said, only if gravity is the physical inverse of electromagnetic. Well, yeah, electromagnetism. Yep. Yep. Dan Lewis, he said, hi, Chris. Wasn't Sagan threatened early on in quoting to Stephen Greer? Yeah, I mean, most of these guys here, because if they're, you know, astrophysicists or scientists of that sort, you know, they're just going to be like, listen, you're probably going to see things you should not say. So, of course, you get the gag order thing going on, and you can't say anything, blah, 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 blah. And it's crazy how that works, but, yeah, I mean, get one of these here. I literally eat these things like candy. Well, I don't usually, but my daughter gave me these little Tic Tacs. And they're good, too, if you got mule's breath. Huh. And these are wintergreen, so they kind of like, whew, you really feel it in your mouth. But they're good. Search for extraterrestrial intelligences. Yeah, the world is full of problems. Poor Godden, what's happening? Good to see you in there. It's been a while. Said, cheers, Chris, in chat. Hope all is good. I'm doing well here. Everybody else seems to be doing well. Been a while since I've seen you. Hope you're doing well. David Gosman, he said, didn't those lightning bolts into the atmosphere used to be called red sprite? Yes, at least I remember that. Or are they different? No, I believe you're right. Let me see. Let me check right now today. Oh, we can't do it on this one yet. Wait a minute. Nope. I'll check it in a little while. You said, did I get the email? I can't do it on this computer. I don't have the password on this particular one. I have it on the other. but I will check it definitely. I don't know. These are pretty rock hard, David. You said, have Tic Tacs got soft over the decades? Well, these are pretty good. Park Gandhi said, Chris, cheers. Yes, everything is good. And thanks for the content, man. I love the work. I appreciate that. I'm glad to see you in there and you're doing well. Pete Vlog, he said, I don't use my car anymore. Gas is so high. It's actually dropped here. It's not the lowest in the country, but it's like $3.99 a gallon. So that's not too bad. I mean, just a week and a half ago, it was still like $4.39, $4.49. It was ridiculous. Now, the con says Matrix. He said, I think you won't be disappointed, sir. Yeah, I'll definitely check it out. No doubt. I love how they said this, too. The James Webb Space Telescope catches imposter galaxies red-handed. Dusty, red galaxies could be posing as extremely high redshift galaxies. And, of course, the James Webb Telescope images astronomers warn. It says one of the images from the James Webb Cosmic Evolution Early Release Science Survey, or the SEERS, in which astronomers are discovering red galaxies with extremely high redshifts, or have they? So then, of course, they're talking about how, you know, it says dusty star-forming galaxies that existed a billion years ago, or I'm sorry, a billion years after the Big Bang, could be masquerading as a record-breaking galaxies discovered by NASA's new space telescope that have been thought to date to even earlier times. So it's weird how they're getting that. Look at that, though. That's pretty sharp, though. I mean, look at these galaxies, solar systems, stars. I mean, Jesus. And this is like a small portion of the sky. That's what blows my mind more than anything. It's just wild how that is. Valerian the Mac 3, what's happening, Chris? Wow, you started early. Good morning, man. Yeah, I decided because I couldn't do it Friday evening, I figured I would go ahead and, you know, do it today at 12. So I'm glad you guys jumped in there. And it just made it more convenient because a lot of people are off on a Saturday, you know. But good to see you in there. And I think MG Toesney, yep, MG Toe, what's going on? Good to see you in there as well. Uh-oh. He said gas was $7.39 in California. $7.39, yeah, because I remember being like $6.50. This was a while back, what, a month ago, whatever it was, a month and a half? I forget what it was. So it's come down quite a bit here, which we're happy about. But, you know, the last thing you want to do is dump your paycheck into gas. So like I said, my wife, she drives the SUV that I've got. It's really good on gas. If anybody has a Chevy Cruze with the 1.4 turbo, and it's the same thing mine has in it, which is kind of rinky-dink, you would think, oh, that's not going to be able to move that thing at all. It does. It actually moves pretty well, considering what it is. But, I mean, I keep my foot out of it, and I still was able to, highest I've gotten so far was 37.7 miles to the gallon. That's not my average, though. My average is usually around 31, 32 miles to the gallon. That's not bad. All-wheel drive, tiny little SUV, it does just fine. So it's all in how you drive it. But I drive, because I drive furthest away, I drive the hybrid car, so it's a lot better on gas. So got to use your brains, you know. Save that money if you can. David, I read what you said about the Tic Tacs, and like you said they set up the Geiger counter. Well, then I should be glowing pretty soon. I don't even eat them. Once in a while I have them. No big deal to me. Pete Vlog just says so many stars and planets. Yeah, exactly. It's just amazing. And they'll tell you it's like a little portion of the sky. It's not even, it's not even, what do you call it? Look at that. I'll just put it right in the middle of the screen here. It's like a really, really tiny portion. Like, it's almost like a piece of sand on the beach is what you're seeing. It's just crazy, right? And if you look at how much is there, but yes, but by the way, folks, we're the only ones ever, that's Earth, that's always had just life on this planet. Come on. Come on. Paul Gotti said, $1.69 per liter. Damn. Oh, David Gosman, I appreciate that, man. Appreciate your support. That's awesome. He said, a little for you, Chris. Love your work. Again, I appreciate that. That's awesome. That is awesome. Appreciate you. Oof. Rashmi said gas is $8.14 in downtown LA. Really? Let me see. Paul Gotti said get 100 miles a gallon. There you go, bike, yeah. Oliver Klein, 1.1 turbo, yeah! Well, it's like we're starting to smart up a little bit to a certain degree. Like the vehicle I own, the newer version of it, because mine's a 2016, the 2021 is an actual 1.1 or 1.3 turbo. And I'm like, okay, that's good and all. But depending on how much you travel and how fast you travel, that engine's not going to last very long. It just won't. It's, you know, if it's constant, if you're in town, you're just kicking around and stuff like that, it's fine. And even when you go on the countryside, it's fine. But you beat them little engines to death. And that's the problem. Unless they're really, really well made, they're just going to beat them to death. So I try to take my time and just kind of cruise, you know. And don't beat on it. You don't have to have your foot in it. It's like, oh, red line, turbo that thing. I've romped on it a couple of times just to, I just don't like the way Chevy, their shifting points are in there. It's just ridiculous. And Pete, you said, I just saw yours and it just said message was retracted. You said you had a Chevy Sonic. And it literally says message retracted now. And it's basically the same thing, I think, as the 1.4. Some of them are a little bit bigger, depending on the model you get. But really, really cool. Better Tomorrow says, keep up the good work. Take care. You taking off? Good to see you, man. Thanks for stopping in. Appreciate that. The search for extraterrestrial intelligence says there must be life on those planets, or in the planets, depending on how you look at it. And I agree. You're not going to tell me we're the only ones that have life. I don't believe that for a moment. If these planets have stars, there's a good chance, not always, but there's a good chance, if it's in the Goldilocks zone of that solar system, there may be some kind of life. It doesn't have to be, excuse me, it don't have to be humans. It don't have to be or just simply organics. Small insects. Could be anything. Who knows? It doesn't have to be actual beings. Life is life. Could be microbial. Could be macro. We don't know. Valerian the Mac 3 says, aren't we looking back in time? Yeah, depending on how far these particular solar systems, stars, whatever they may be, it depends on how far back, you know, the light, you know, it gets brought, but they can calculate that and they can tell just how far back we're looking, you know. Miss Heard, you said there has to be life that exists in everywhere of those galaxies. Every one of those galaxies. And I agree with you because, again, even if it's simple microbial life, and as long as it's in a Goldilocks zone, pretty much, it doesn't have to be, because there's extremophiles that also live on these planets and, you know, in different areas of these, whether it be planets, galaxies, wherever it may be, you know what I mean, around these stars. I believe so. And I think there's life everywhere, and I believe there's actually, civilizations, beings. I don't know. But they want you to believe out of all that, and it's just a tiny piece of part of the sky, they want you to believe could possibly be life anywhere else. No. Let me watch it. We are Earth, a grain of sand on a very sandy beach. Yep. MG, there you go. The solution to the gas problem is just don't drive. Now, when I was working close to my job, I could have easily just took the scooter I have, the electric scooter. It's, you know, it does 16 miles an hour. I can get there in no time. So just go there. I can drive it 2 or 3 times back and forth to work, or just charge it up at work, or charge it here. Never have to use any gas. Of course, it'll suck in the rain and the freezing cold. And but if you can get away with it and use it for a short amount of time, how much money did you save? Richard, you said, just think that the telescope can zoom in rather, on every planet it sees on the surface. Well, they really can't quite do that, but they can from the makeup of, they can tell what the makeup of the atmosphere is through the gases and the way the light goes through it and different light spectrums, and they can tell what kind of atmosphere it may have. It can't, unless of course it's super close, it can't zoom onto the surface, but still, like you said, that's amazing. Either way you look at it, the technology has come, and it's pretty sharp considering, you know. I'm sure it looks a lot clearer on the pictures they have, right? So I think that would be pretty neat. Pete's Vlogs, remind me to stay out of Cali. Got that right. Yeah, Pete, yeah, I said, spelling sorry, I have a Chevy Sonic. Yeah, I mean, which are good little cars, you know. Ever thus far, he said, there are 400 billion stars in our galaxy, and 10% have planets, even with possibly the right conditions to create life. Also, all we need is one civilization to see life in the galaxy, which is true. But you can bet that there's beings out there that have been out there long before we were a microbe here on Earth. You can bet on it long before that. Thousands and millions of years prior to that. Because if the further you look out, those would be the newest planets, or the first planets, compared to what we are. We're like the new kids on the block. So the further you look back, these are millions upon millions of years that they've had time to have life, and then of course grow. And of course if they didn't implode their civilization, then they're spacefaring, and then some, much more sophisticated than we'll ever think of. So the farther you go back, it's actually the newest or youngest planet. Although the way you're looking at it, you say no, it's the oldest, or is it? It's the oldest to a certain degree. Well, I should say it's the oldest. But when you look back, you're looking millions upon millions of years ago, billions of years. So, you know, they would be the most advanced civilizations, where we, not so much. And that's because they traveled to this neck of the woods and decided to basically put life on these planets. Then they're going to be just out there. And be the most technologically advanced as far as I'm concerned, you know, sophisticated and everything else. Ricardo, you did make it in. I thought I saw you in there. Hello, gang. Late to the party. Just got home from a day's mountain biking. Something fun. Oh, good to have you in there, Ricardo. That's awesome. Good to have you here as always. You know that. John Schaub, your question was, Chris, are there any crashed spacecraft on the moon? I have seen photos where it looks like there's like giant container type things, and it would look like one of them I had, it looked like it was inside a crater, just slightly tilted in the inside of the wall of the crater. It looked like either a structure or some kind of weird spacecraft. The other one was literally on the lunar surface. You can see it, like if you look down at it, but it was so whited out that you couldn't see it unless you brought the details back to the photo. And you can see what looks like a giant container or a structure or something. Weird, weird stuff. H. Charles 1AV said this goes back so far it might have implications for Einstein's C, to say nothing of the atomic gravimetrics and the conditions. Life would look different there. Oh, absolutely. So I'd be curious to see, and of course scientists would, to see just what kind of life that would look like. And I'm talking about not so much micro, but past macro, something big enough to actually see what they're just looking at it, right? That would be pretty interesting. I'd love to see that. That's a great question, Corey. He said, where's Leslie Ann? Oh, there she is. She's here. I read that. I looked down and said, there she is. I'm here. Been very, very ill physically and with PTSD. Well, I'm sorry to hear that, Leslie Ann. I hope you do feel better and get better. And I'm thinking I can speak for everybody. I hope you do get better. And all you can do is one day at a time. And if you're going to the doctors, whatever, just continue to do what they say and try to get better. And that's all you can do, right? David Gossamer, he said, I think alien life is everywhere. We have only just started looking and barely know what signatures to look for. And it might be a case of so much alien noise we can't tell them apart. That's true, you know. And like I said, I think those, when they were talking about quantum communications, and I've been talking about this long before I read that last one, because we were talking about that, communications and stuff like that. I was saying that they probably communicate in a way that we would not even think of, or a combination of ways. So even if you could hear like noise out there, can you decrypt it? Can you make it out? Can you do anything with it? And unless you get the whole signal, it's like half a signal. It's like breaking up on a cell phone. You're like, yeah. So anyway, you can't understand a bloody thing it's saying. So if it may be, we don't even know. Picture like a wavelength. The top of it's digital, the bottom is analog instead of a whole analog signal, all digital. It could be a combination of both, and if you can't decipher it, you can't make out, you only get half the conversation, or none at all. It could be in light spectrum, it's just bizarre. We don't even have a clue. We think we know what we're talking about because we're going by what human beings would look for. You know, we have our own frequency charts, okay? That doesn't mean everybody out there follows the same thing. We don't know. I mean, they're just guessing, we'll just look for it in these particular frequencies and hope to hell, you know, because even if it's an older civilization, maybe they'd be thinking something along the lines of us and have them the same kind of frequencies and whatever, like entertainment, if you will, and somehow we can read that. I think it's totally, I mean, unless it's a planet like us, somewhere around our evolutionary scale and our technological advancements, you might get lucky, you might hear some kind of, and I think they have, some kind of broadcast or something from other planets. But the ones that are so vastly technologically advanced, we probably don't even have a clue. Don't even have a clue. We did, Ricardo. He said, have you guys discussed Joe's giant Martian veggie? You're talking about that area where he said there was a ton of them. I didn't see the video myself, but somebody had brought it up, and I know the picture he's talking about. I've seen it. I haven't watched his video. And for all we know, like I said, it could be their structures. And we're going, can't be anything, you know, intelligently made. How do you know that? Or is it really organic, and it's just a natural process that takes place on Mars? Of course, absolutely. So I just find it interesting. There's a lot of wild-looking things on the surface of Mars, and you just go, is that natural? Is it not natural? Is it something they make, you know, to try to make it look like it is, and it's not? I don't know, just to try to fool any enemies? I don't know. Flux capacitor says, Honda Fit for me today. I got 42 ones driving like a granny. Typical around town, 33. Yeah, I thought they actually got better than that, those little Honda Fits. I heard they were a little bit better, but it's hard to tell. Ricardo says, Scotland is sweltering for a change. A lovely 25 degrees Celsius. That's pretty warm. What's going on, Corey? Good to see you in there. We got a Bush Corey, we got Corey. He said, hello, Chris. What's going on, Corey? Good to see you in there. We are a peck of dust with eternity all around us. But this eternity is full of life. So what happens when we die? Surrounded by all this life. So, question mark. So, yeah. Oops. Thing jumped on me here, but let's see. Oliver Klein, they found a Borg cube. Good night. Are you actually taking off, Oliver? That's funny. A Borg, the Borg cube, yeah. Pete Ferrari said 4.5 billion years the Earth has been around. No telling what kind of life existed in that time. How do we know we're even accurate? They say, oh, well, we think the universe itself is how old, and the planets might be, we're calculating this. Now, don't get me wrong, they have scientific ways of doing the crunching numbers and everything else, and different, tests and different experiments and different this, that, and the other. But how do we know we even know the age of anything that's out there? Even the Earth, 4.4 or 4.5 rather, whatever. Call it, you can split hairs. Well, if you want to go by a billion years or a million years. How do we know it's even that? Oh, we calculated this, but how do we know our methods are actually correct? Even though, you know what I mean, scientists got this stuff down pat, but how do we know that it's not much older? We really don't know. No, I haven't seen Jean Warden there, Renee. He may be busy because he's used to us being on Fridays, right? Flux Capacitor said, everything is a giant petri dish. Yep. The Awoken one says, imagine how planets NASA will find the blotch over with the James telescope for Chris to call out BS on their manipulated photos. Yeah, I mean, it's got to be tougher to see that in here because you see the way everything's like really small. You won't be able to know if they've taken out some things, but I bet if you look at this with a fine-tooth comb, you could actually find something in there. H-Stars1AV, you said exactly right. We only have one reference point, us. Yeah. I mean, we're thinking on our standards. We're not thinking about something that could be totally radically different. Although if they've been finding things on the moon, then they know there's things that are probably much more different than we can ever imagine. But even then, does it stop there? Just because they found a spacecraft or structures or whatever, like on Mars, and they'll go, wow, this is all new to us. This is the technology, we have no idea. Wow, wow, wow. But how do we know that what they've seen on the moon and Mars is not like antique as well? Like just really old technology. We have no idea. Rashaman, you said mechanical parts and alien skulls scattered across the Martian landscape. Oh, there's a lot of stuff that's been scattered all over the place. Pulling God, back to feed, catch laters. Let me see here. I was looking at different things here. This is actually a cool picture too. Some 300 million light years from Earth, 4 of the galaxies in a group called Stephan's Quintet are interesting, transferring gases, dust, and dust between them. That's pretty cool. That's actually a really sharp-looking photo. Pretty sweet. Hey, look at that. It's literally like the same, like the gases and everything else, the particles, everything are going from star to star and different areas. That's pretty neat. Tony Introvert, what's going on? What is happening? People are idiots. New to HD, it's like they don't realize it's like you can put it 150 times. All I gotta do is hit it one time to block you. Duh. Yeah, I know, it's like, it's weird how it does that, right? You said my hat's changed. Yep, it's gone, it's killed off. Bush Corey. Nude aliens? Yes, please. Wonder what the females would look like. Be kind of weird, wouldn't it? Some of them may be scary as hell. Some of them probably wouldn't be too bad. I'm sure some of the women are going, I wonder what the alien men would look like. Could be interesting. Or again, scary. David, you said, I suspect we'll not detect alien comms until we figure out how to detect their super advanced communications, such as through entanglement. Well, that's true, and it's like, how do you even start to think about their communications, right? You'd have to take a wild guess, like, is it through light? If it's through light, then what wavelength? Is it a combination between like quantum communications, but if you got like digital as well as analog? Is it just a weird combo of communications? We just don't have an idea what it even, you know what I mean? It just can't, the complexity of it, we just don't know. Like I said, we're starting off with what we know, which makes sense, right? So we know, okay, we go up in the military band, we go up to 6 gigahertz, we go there, we can go down and wait over here. It's just weird. So all we can do is what we're aware of, and then if we detect anything, which I have a feeling they have, if they detect anything of any value, they go, oh, okay, because it's something that would tell us that they're right around the same technologically advancements that we are. So we're somewhere around the same. Makes sense, right? Now, even if we were, you know, really, really sophisticated technology and everything else, and you can bet we're still using older communications. It's kind of like in 2006 when we changed from analog, at least here in the United States, changed from analog to digital here on the TV programs and the channels, right? Soon we'll be going to 4K. I don't know if any other country is doing that, but we'll be doing the same. Now, you know, if you got a TV that's already 4K, you're good to go. You don't have to worry about it. It'll automatically decode it and you'll be ready to rock. But if you don't, you're pretty much screwed. You have to get yourself a receiver or just a new TV set. I've seen something like that, but it was more like that blob. Remember Valerian? He said amateur astronomers are capturing pictures of UFO cylinders hiding in the Saturn's rings. Now, I've done a video on that, remember, about the rings themselves, and they almost look like the shadows of what looked like something on the edge of them, which is really weird. Now you say, well, it's like, if you think about it, they're supposed to be like basically particles and rocks, boulders, and everything else, and then make up these rings. But how, excuse me, how does it keep it perfectly in those rings? And if that's true, and if they're so, well, if you go, we have to go real close to them, but it's weird how they just happen to look like they're like structures casting shadows. Now, is it possible it's all natural and it's just rocks and stuff? Sure, because there's no way we'll ever find this out unless we had inside information, right? Tony Introvert, you said, until I see something with my own eyes, I will still believe. Yeah, I mean, nobody said we have to like believe everything and be gullible, common sense, right? What the heck is that? Oops. Oh, let me just tell her, yeah. But yeah. Valeria said, heard alien women rules the universe. Nothing wrong with that. Richard Bunny said, just think, nowadays Mars is a phone call away. Pretty much. Yeah, Bushcore, yeah. Like Lilu from Fifth Element. Woohoo! Yeah, he's pretty sweet. If they all look like that, I don't think anybody have a problem. Ricardo says, listening, but can't really chat at the moment. Oh, that's fine. As long as you're just chilling. You hook one. damn spammers should get a life and leave. Try as they may. Rashomir Jones, he says, seems like the bots only interrupt conscious channels. Well, I'm not even surprised, though. You shouldn't be surprised. You'll get that. Lapis, I call him Lapis for short because it's like, yes, only entanglement is logic. Greetings. Yeah, what's going on? Good to see you in there. I think you were in there early anyway, but I think it jumped over you because somebody talked to you or responded to you and I'd never seen you. Oops. Pete Ferreira said, largest nuke power plant in Europe, located in Ukraine, is in a bad way. It could be a major problem for the atmosphere over Europe. And I know I've seen that. And I don't know why they keep messing with that power plant. Do they really want to create such a problem where it's not just going to hurt, you said like, over Europe, it's not just going to hurt them. It gets up in the atmosphere, it's going to take it everywhere. So it's going to hurt a lot of people. I just think it's BS what they're doing. The old one says, the problem with what we know is we are not allowed to know the things that they want us knowing, which limits the things we need to understand. Well, yeah, pretty much. No, I didn't, Bush Corey. You said, Chris, did you manage to watch the Steve-O interviewing Tom DeLonge? No, I sure didn't. I haven't been doing really much of anything other than working. Pete Vlogs. I just plugged my phone into a 35-inch TV and you look huge compared to the phone I use. Well, yeah, because I mean, even if you got a decent sized phone like this here, I mean, yeah, it's big difference. Let me see. Looks like one of the comments there. All these people that come in there, they start talking stupid on one of the comments on one of the videos. So I'll have to respond to that after. It's funny how these people say, oh yeah, he thinks he knows about this particular subject. And then when I say, okay, well maybe I'm just ignorant to it, please explain. Never have a thing to say. So it's like, shut it. That's the way I look at it. Valerian, the Mac 3. Galactic Federation of Light will be picking me up soon. Let's go, V. Hey, yeah, be picking me up. Taxi. Oh, we did, Dave. Dave B. said, Chris, have you ever done a hangout with Joe from Art Alien TV? I did a while back. A real while back. And I wouldn't mind even getting back with him, just having a hangout and show his best stuff and, you know, things like that. It'd be great, you know. Yeah, Joe's a good guy. Oh, let me see. Frack, you said when crap hits the fan, you know where to find me. Never been shy. Oh yeah, absolutely. No, but you get these people there, and I think it's just it's actually pretty funny. No, well, actually, a buddy of mine called. I mean, it's not that big. I mean, if you really look at it, it's really not that big. But a buddy of mine calls, you know, some of these other phones that are really big, you know, he calls them phablets because they're basically phones and tablets. And I'm like, good God, how do you put that thing next to the air? I see one guy, he's like, I'm like, how do you carry that? Richard, you said there's three faster ways to get to Mars, like light beam travel through a Stargate. Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, it's something that's got to be. If we had the technology, and we may very well, then that would be pretty interesting. And we know they can get to Mars much faster than that. They got better propulsion than they're claiming to the public that we've got. Now, it might be these, like Skunk Works and all of these people that have. Like Grumman, all these Grumman places, like NASA and all these, when they work together, you don't know what they could possibly build. You know what I mean? It's, if they got the propulsion, then you know they can get to Mars in no time. But they're just, and these are, like I said, higher up groups. And then the regular, you know, scientists and engineers are building these regular rockets, and people going, oh, wow, the technology we have is fantastic. In the meantime, there's some crazy stuff going on that the technology hasn't even been told to the public, so obviously we don't know. But from what we learned over the years, yeah, you could bet they do. Oh yeah. What did I say? Pete, you said, I've noticed that the proposed moon base by NASA is far away from the first landings. Could it be what the astronauts found? Is NASA playing a game with us? Well, you can bet if they already have you can already bet they have a base on there already, all right? Because like I said, if they've gone to the moon before, what's to stop them saying, okay, why don't we just keep going, which we already know they do. But let's say they go, okay, let's keep going, we'll build a base. What's to stop them from doing it? If you can get to the moon, just bring certain, you know, pieces there at a time until you build what you want to build. I mean, it's going to cost X amount of billions upon billions of dollars, but that doesn't mean it can't be done. Hell, they'll just take it out of the public's pocket. We got them. Don't worry, we got their back. Pete's vlogs, everything looks big on TV, and then I like what John said. Pete's blogs, tell my wife that. Oh. The Awoken one, you said, I used to be ignorant to the NASA photographs rather until I stumbled across Chris' awesome YouTube channel. And taking that red pill was one of the best things I ever done, or I ever did, as we have been lied to all along. But, you know, the thing is, it's like, and like I said, I didn't even know this until I started looking into these photos. I had no clue. I did what everybody else did. I look at the photo, wow, that's pretty. Well, okay, next. And wouldn't think twice. I just move it along. Never thought anything about it. Until, like I said, I started really investigating these things. Oh, wait a minute, hold on. Something's really wrong here. Like I said, I wouldn't even care if we never found a thing in the photos, which I wouldn't want to go back to that now. But the thing is, it's like, okay, so if you've only found certain areas of a photograph blurred, that indicates to me that there's something majorly wrong. Now, is it possible there could have been something on the lens? Sure, makes sense. But usually if it's on the lens, it literally blocks out the whole darn photo, or at least completely botches it up so you can't see anything. But when you see like areas that are purposely blurred out and all kinds of tricks have been done to the photo, clearly you know something's being hidden in the photo. It's kind of like I said before, the analogy I used, like if you're selling your vehicle and you don't want everybody to have your plate number because then they'll find out where your house is and who knows what will happen, right? So what do? You block it out, put a little red, put a little black box or white it out or do whatever you want to the photo and then, you know, like edit it and then, of course, you know, put the vehicle on whatever, you know, whatever it may be, Auto Trader, whatever the heck, go online, of course, Facebook yard sale, whatever it may be. So you would block it out because you don't want people to know it. Why else would you block a photo? There's no reason for it. If it's all raw photos as they claim they are, then you should see everything with brilliant detail, and you don't see that. It should look like this. Don't get me wrong, the technology is probably a lot more far advanced than what's on the rovers, but that's not the point. You know they're not garbage like they keep showing us. There's no way. There's just no way around that. I don't know, Leslie Ann. I disagree. You said, LOL, no, I have no evidence of a moon base. They don't do it because it's somebody else's property. LOL, no base on the moon. I think they actually did. I think they actually have one. Because for me, anyway, what I would do is if I wanted to, I'm investigating the parts, maybe the aircraft, or the not aircraft, but crafts, or structures, even if it's just structures. If you're on there, you want to really, and let's say there's many of them. You're not just going to go up there for just a couple little, you know, Apollo missions and be done with it. You literally want to go up and handle these things and look at it. Whereas they had to come back. They had some, you know, they only had like 2 or 3 days on the moon and they had to come back. So there's only so much they could put in these little briefcases. So you go, man, I really want to see more of this technology. What do? Make a base so you can stay there for a long time. Or is it possible, and I doubt it because somebody would have seen this by now, have a small orbiting space station like China wants to do? And I forget what, is it China that already has one? They had it like for a relay station for communications with their little rover. There should be a relay station kind of orbiter around the moon from, I think, China. I could be wrong. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong. But I don't know. I mean, I guess it depends on how you look at it, but to me, I think that they actually built something on the moon because it would make sense. For the larger items, you want to take your time to investigate, and it makes more sense to be able to just build something on the moon and stay there. Although, it can be tough because you'd have to send either A, equipment there constantly, food and everything else, or learn to grow it on the moon, which would be like insane, right? So I don't know. Even if they didn't actually stay there or have a base, you can bet they went over and over and over again. Because here's the thing, if you can, like I said before, if you can retrofit one of the space shuttles they used in the 80s, to actually put the ISS together, retrofit it. Extra fuel in the actual cargo department or compartment, call it what you will. You can retrofit the engines in that thing, different propulsion. In other words, keep the shuttles, but just different propulsion. Again, you've got the astronauts are in the spacesuits and everything else. Get there a lot faster than they did traditionally, and you can literally go over there. They can get out of the shuttle if there's a way they can. I don't know if they can actually land if the lunar dust is really, really shallow. But if you could do that and just like literally take off from there, what's to stop you from taking off from the moon? What's the gravity again? There you go. So if you could take off, if you could find a flat enough area where you can literally take off, and then you could literally take off of the moon and come right back to Earth. Land there, grab some stuff, and literally, I'm talking about parts and pieces, not like little tiny pieces you can take. Like, okay, this is a certain metal. I mean, literally take parts out of there and bring it home. I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you think they could do that? You think they were capable of doing that? Or you think no? Scott Prosecki, I think it is. Mimi, I don't think the aliens would allow anyone to build a base there. Well, my thinking was this. I agree to a certain degree, because in other words, if there's aliens there, would they have made an agreement with us humans to be able to do that? But if it's their stuff, it makes sense. In other words, it's their spacecraft, it's their structures. Obviously, they don't want you snooping in that. But if they go, listen, we don't care that you do that. That was an older civilization. We don't care if you snoop around in that. We don't care. That's the only way I could see that they'd be able to do that. Or there really is nobody else on that surface of the moon. Maybe under its surface, possibility. On the surface itself, possibility? I don't think so. So one of the two things is happening on that moon. Tony Introvert, you said maybe a secret space war going on to be the first to get the bird's eye view. Well, I mean, I think they've already done that already, right, Tony? I mean, because the LRO, the Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter, has been orbiting around the moon for God knows how long, and it's mapped the moon over and over again with probably incredible detail for its technology. And, we won't see it. And if we were already the first ones to do that, then every other country falls behind and falls by the wayside. But the more technologically advanced your cameras are and everything else, can imagine the detail, right? But I can already tell you, even back then, I think it was 2001, was it? When was the LRO put up there? Maybe even later than that. But regardless of the time it was put on there, it wasn't way, way back. So the technology was pretty decent for the camera on that thing. And it was probably the best you could buy, or military grade that you could buy to put on that spacecraft. So there's no doubt in my mind that it's crystal clear photos. Bush Corey said, good question. He said, Chris, how many photos have you studied and said that this photo has not been manipulated? Not many, although there have. And it depends on which one you're talking about. You're talking about the moon or Mars. I've seen some photos that are up close, on the moon, where you can see like the astronaut's footprints and it's close to the lander and all that other stuff. You go, it looks pretty darn good, meaning it doesn't look like it's been, really messed around with. But There's always something. Like, in other words, you get a decent clarity on the lunar surface, and then you go, oh, it looks pretty darn good. And then maybe off to the right, it's got this blurring effect, and it's digitized out. And I think this may have happened years after the photos were taken, right? Because they didn't have the technology to do that back then, or at least not what we think anyway. So now that it was maybe in the 70s or 80s, the late 70s, 80s, they've come up with everything that can block it out. And like I said, back in the day, they used to either airbrush directly on it, or they put a piece of acetate over it and they just do anything kind of they wanted to, and then they want to do to block it out. And then, of course, they take the picture again with it on top. And, of course, you'd be, none the wiser. You wouldn't know what the hell's there. But to me, it just seems like, that majority are manipulated and censored out somehow. Now, there are some, like in Mars, you can look at some of the Mars photos, nothing in them to see. But it's always the ones that are up close. Because obviously you're not going to take it up close so that people can see that. Because here's the thing, if I take a photo of, let's say, I'm one of these astronauts, and I'm taking a picture of something that's right in front of me, and I mean, it's crystal clear, because it's not off in the distance, it's crystal clear, then I have to put some serious censoring over these photos, and you're going to see that almost instant, because it's something that's up close in the camera's view. Now, if I take something and I take it from way back there, and I can see all of these things in the background, it's easy to take that stuff out, because you're not going to have that great detail to begin with. So if I take it all out, nobody knows anything. So it's just this weirdness, I think, with the photos, and you can bet they've taken probably hundreds and thousands of photos of things up there, and of course we'd never see them. They would be completely blocked out, or they completely blocked them out, said, okay, there's the real version. Okay, let's give the public this particular copy. Right? Kenneth, an alien civilization has found the Voyager and sent a message back. Send more Chuck Berry. Oh, man. Oh, okay, it was 2008. You're right, Ricardo. I don't know why I was thinking 2001. I knew I know it was in 2010. I know that for a fact. I know it was in between there. But yeah, so it's not going to have the worst camera in the world, right? It's going to be pretty darn good quality photos, and you can bet it's really pristine. The Awoke one says, in my opinion, they are far more advanced with technology than most people do know about. And they have space projects in operation that we also do not know about. Yeah, they don't have to tell us anything. We're on a need-to-know basis. They don't need to tell us jack crap what's going on. They can just hide everything they want to. How would you know? We're too busy worrying about wars in other countries. Worry about our everyday jobs, our families. So most people don't have the time to even think about that. There you go. William Kennedy said, my dad was from the Air Force. It's been done, man. Oh, I can almost guarantee it has. Tony Interfere said the new drone coming soon. It can, it can go all the way into the darkness. Oh yeah. Well, like I said, I know a lot of these rovers, believe it or not. Even the rovers had night vision, or they had at least, and I shouldn't say night vision. They had literally LED lights, so they can literally go into dark areas or actually see in the dark. So these So if we were taking photos, we could take it in the dark. It's like, and it kind of makes sense. If you were to run the Opportunity, Spirit, which were solar powered, right? Wouldn't you need to let it charge during the day? So then when would the missions be? So either they're full of crap and they're actually nuclear powered, they're just making it look like they're only solar powered so that at some point, like I said, they can cancel the program to the public. Think about it. You would have to have that thing charge all day long. How can you possibly have it roving around when it needs to charge? Doesn't make much sense. When would they have the time to do it and do both at the same time? Rove around, look around, and charge the batteries at the same time. Unless, of course, they're taking like every other day. In other words, they'll let it charge during the day, let it sit, and then the following day they just go ahead and rove. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that, guys? What do you think? Bush Corey said, got a nice 10-hour shift soon. Joys of my life. Oh, you gotta love it. You gotta love it. Believe me, I know all about it. Wish my job was back to some normalcy at some point, but it's going to be rough the next couple weeks at least. Off-world construction, you said, who are these pictures for? Because I've seen the pics of of Mars totally edited, obfuscated, so I've no faith these are not as well. Well, again, we have to remember that they get funding through basically government or our, they get it through the government basically, right? So they get this money, they want to see results. So of course, you know, we're going to have scientists, NASA scientists, geologists, all kinds of people, these scientists of all different branches to look at these photos when they first get them. They want to know what's going on. And it could be technical scientists, you know, technicians and everything, because if there is anything to do with technology they're finding on there, they want to know what the hell these things are. So all of these people, these higher-ups and these people that are working for these space agencies or the military, because the DOD's involved as well, so they want to see what's going on. And then, of course, we get the watered-down, censored, garbage photos, and that's what we see. All we're doing is getting like little bits and pieces that we can snap at and have a look at. That's pretty much it. Now, there's been some things that have been really, really found in these photos. It's just absolutely awesome, where they slipped up and made a mistake, which is really, really cool. But we're not the first to see these. I've said this over and over again. It's everything that's got to do with scientists. It doesn't matter what branch you have of that science, whatever science it is. It's just they see it all first, and then they pass it on to the public, which is, again, watered down garbage. You know, it's basically what it is. Lionheart Glassworks, what's going on? I don't think I've said hi to you earlier. He said, in Arizona, most of the animals come out at night. I would expect Mars to be the same way. Well, yeah, because if you think about it, it's hot in the deserts, so they do. They actually come out at night, or at least at that sweet spot time, right? It's like dusk and everything else, where it's starting to get cooler. They'll come out, and of course, unless of course it's something that basks in the sun, like lizards or something weird like that, or snake or whatever. But a lot of times they hide. It's just too darn hot. So it's the same thing as Mars, like you're saying, where if it's hot as hell, wait until it cools down, and then they come out. John Sharp says, hey, dudes and Chris, I've got to go to a mate's house now as he built the bar. I will try to link my phone to the big screen. All right, man, appreciate you being here. We're not going to be here much longer either, folks. We're just going to get out of here ourselves because I still got to do things here. It's still a Saturday, which sucks. So I got to get some things done as well. But so I think we've been on what? It's almost 3.5 hours. It's been almost that. So that's pretty cool. So Oh, that's funny. Airbrush blurring scientist. I like that. Pretty much spot on though. That's a crazy part. So, when did I just see that? Lionheart Glassworks, he said they might love the cold. Their bodies could be nothing like what is on Earth. Exactly, we don't know, right? But let me do that. There's nothing to show. Why isn't there? That's not right at all, is it? Right. Anyway, so got some cool photos coming up and videos. Like I said, I got one more moon I need to put on there, and I also have a Mars one. I'm going to check out this Gigapan, and I'm going to show you some little oddities that are on some of these buttes. So when you see that, you're going to be like, oh, that's interesting. That's pretty wild. So I'm going to try to knock these out. I'm not sure when I'll get the time to do it, because like I said, this afternoon, which I'm going to jump off here now, jump out of there, and I want to get some of this done. You know, interesting things like yard work and cool stuff. Right. And then be able to kick back and relax a little bit. So I'm going to let everybody go. But it's always a pleasure, guys. I just, well, ladies and gents, I don't want to just say guys. Women might get insulted thinking, guys? Not last time I checked. But it's always a pleasure, man. I just wanted, I didn't know if anybody was going to be, you know, down with it doing today, because I know a lot of people, they're so used to having Saturdays off that they may not join us, and some didn't, which is fine with me. I get it. But I just thought, you know, it'd be cool to be able to spend some time with you guys and ladies and gents. And so this is really cool for me, and was able to spend some time with you folks and have a good time as always. So that's cool. What did it say? Okay. I just want to check. But anyway, yeah, you know, as always, folks, same old spiel. I can't say it enough. Just love you guys. You guys are awesome. I'm not sure what's going on out there, but okay. But there's a piece of dust hanging here. I just noticed that right in front of the camera. Surprised you guys didn't see it. But anyway, much love to everybody. Glad everybody was here. And again, the support is overwhelming. You guys are awesome. I appreciate you all. And, you know, and the support I get from this channel is just great. Even if we do have these, what is it, nude.com or, you know, I don't know, bendmeover.org, whatever the hell it may be. It's hard to tell, right? But I appreciate you all being here. And I'm going to just say, hey, everybody have a great weekend. And what time we got? 3:18. We'll wait until 3:30 my time, so at half past the hour. And I'll go ahead and shut the stream down. So, again, everybody, thanks for being here. Much love to you all. Thanks for the great support. You guys are awesome. And I'll let you know what's going on in the community chat right there on YouTube to let you know what's going on as far as what's going to transpire with the job and all. I'll be over to the other original store, be sorting that out and basically taking inventory for insurance purposes. So get that knocked out. Gonna be a long week. Not looking forward to it, but another way I am. Just want to get it done. So anyway, everybody be safe. Have a great weekend. We'll talk to you soon. Peace.